Let's get our peeps on here. And boop. All right, now we wait. What doing? Come here. What doing? What doing? Oh, so bad. Oh, so bad. Why are you too big? Ooh. You're so big and chunkies. Big and chunkies. It's not giving me the option, Caleb, to bring you on camera. I wonder if maybe... Well, I don't know. Down with your child. There we go. Got Bruce.
And just like that.
And I know, right? I feel like I haven't seen you in ages. What the hell? It's trying to add Caleb, but it's taking its sweet time, which is strange. Let me try that again. Caleb's over here tagging people. I'm over here trying to get him on this damn live, and he's over here just tag. Oh man. Helios Lee, where do you think you're going, son? Staring at the door. I'm not the favorite parent, so he wants to go back out there with Matt.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Adonis is my honey. That dog lives and breathes his mama. But Helios is like, he's excited to see me when I get home, but then it's right back to Matt. It's like I'm chopped liver whenever he's around. Let's see. Caleb. I'm gonna need you to cooperate, my man. You're our fam, Mike. I don't know why you asking weird questions. He meant to say "What's up, fam," but he said "What's your fam?" I was just like, okay, well, what's your name? Who's your daddy? Let's see. All right, here we go. Got another invite. Oh, that's weird. Oh, 1 second. That was why. It already thought it was trying to add you. Now we wait for Darryl.
I was gonna say, don't do me like this. Don't do me like this.
Hey, you was getting all your typing there before you got on. You was getting all your typing there so you wouldn't before you got on, so you wouldn't get kicked off.
Hey, exactly. You know what? If I get kicked off, I promise y'all, I try to do my part. Tagging
He's
people.
he just starts getting on there and just loads up the comment section.
Oh,
Let's get them
that's
on.
why I
Let's
don't
get them
come in.
on.
I don't come in. I don't come in much because this show will kick you off, man. Sometimes you come in, be okay. Sometimes you can't.
I think it's if
Yeah,
you hit their name, like the highlighted portion. So you gotta sometimes like chubby finger it or something. I don't know.
just fat finger the dang thing.
Oh, how y'all doing now?
Man, I'm good, man.
I'm tired.
Oh no. Hey, Kansas City doing the thing.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not excited about now. I will say I was more nervous, I think, about playing the Bills than I was necessarily about the prospect of having to play
The
either
Ravens what?
the
At
Ravens
Baltimore?
or huh?
At Baltimore this week
Ugh,
though.
yeah. Well, I mean,
But I
though we
understand.
just proved that we can play on the road and
Yeah.
succeed. I mean, that was close.
Yeah.
That was bad blood pressure, is what that
Yeah.
was.
Hey, poor Josh Allen. Lord, I'm sure he's like, Patrick Mahomes, why? Why did you come in the league the same time as me? And why are you so good?
They should all be thinking the same thing. Bless their hearts. I mean, now I will say this though. I mean, he's really, really good. But when he does bad, it's bad. Like,
He played good. That they keep saying, well, he can't beat Patrick Mahomes because he's 0-3 against him in the playoffs. And he's only been in the league, what, 6 years, something like that?
I want to say seven.
Yeah,
If they were in the same recruit,
really.
yeah, 7 years.
I actually saw Josh Allen in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's crazy that he had to go to the Senior Bowl. Like, most quarterbacks of his elite talent, they're not going to the Senior Bowl.
Nope.
Like they're resting up. Like, I'm not getting hurt. Like, I'm first round pick. But he was so underrated. And then the Buffalo Bills, like, nice pickup.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice
absolutely.
find.
Well, so I think at one point that during the draft, the Bills actually initially had intended on picking up Mahomes, but instead they gave up that pick um, for something else. I can't remember, and I used to know what it was for, but they let go of that pick, and then the Chiefs picked him up. So he was almost a Bill.
Kansas City Chiefs. That's
Uh,
crazy how it ties back to that and how often they've played each other. A lot of
mm-hmm.
ties. A lot of ties.
Okay, here in a second. Daryl's having a hard time getting on the live. Let's see here. I'm gonna type to him. Okay.
Bruce, what you been doing, man? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Man, I've been working.
Yeah.
Man, I'm talking. Well, I supposed to be on my long break, but I got fire training. I had fire training all this week, so I got to put all that heavy stuff, man, that gear, and man, I'm telling you something. I'd rather do it in the wintertime than the
Yeah.
summertime, though. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Man, we fight fire. Crazy.
Dang.
I'll be glad when I get it over with, bro.
Yeah. What we got?
I got tomorrow, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Halfway there, man.
it's just 8 hours. So
Yeah.
it's supposed to rain a lot tomorrow, the next day. So we probably won't have to go outside. We probably just stay inside or stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only rained a little bit here today. It wasn't too terribly bad, but at least it wasn't freezing.
Yeah. I know the
Yeah.
temperature's definitely heating back up, which thank goodness, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, real quick. For the viewers that are watching, with this cold, what do you put to? We both have outside setups. What do you do to help keep them warm?
Well, man, look, you always, when you build your kennels, don't never build your kennel so the north wind can run inside
Nice.
your kennel house. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Always direct them, build your kennel in the opposite way of the north wind. Always. And I do like pine shavings and stuff like that. Like my puppies, um, I get the big igloo, costs about $200,
Mhm.
and
Hey, Connor.
you might have to drill a hole a little bit in that vent part on the top, and I run a heat lamp to the
Mhm.
top with a cord out. I always put it to the top so they can't
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
bothered
never
with
put
it.
it
You
on
know
the
what I'm saying?
ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
Hey,
if you don't watch it, if you put it down too low, man, they get that cord,
yeah.
it ain't gonna be pretty.
No, not at all.
Mm. Ooh,
Yeah,
be like that cat in the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
yeah. But if you got your kennel and it's already cemented and stuff and the north wind is hitting them in the face, you need to put some kind of shield or some kind of barrier
Yeah.
up so it can
Yeah.
knock that wind off. People wouldn't people be I mean it's that north wind, man, that'll do some damage to 'em,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? To a dog. But if you keep that north wind off of them, you're good.
Yeah. Hey, that's good thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that wind's going to bring in the rain too and things like that. So
Ooh,
if I set
yeah,
that up, man, it's going to be coming in on you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
And some people can't, they might have to build a kennel, um, you know, that
Where?
way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you can just block that wind off from some kind of way, man, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
And hey, back to it when you said pine shavings, like, just so people that are watching too, yeah, it insulates the igloo. So it contains the warmth, pine shavings, hay, flakes, things like that. Like it insulates it. So any of those are definitely great to use and keep these dogs warm, especially the colder states. Thank goodness
Yeah.
we don't get it too often.
Hmm.
Like we are very fortunate.
Man, look, I'm gonna tell you something. When I lived in Iowa, I bought a dog in Iowa,
Why did you live in
and
Iowa, first of all?
Oh, yeah,
What?
there ain't nothing in Iowa
now
except for corn and you.
that's what you think.
But my bad, my bad.
But but
Let's-
anyway, but
I've
look,
driven through
I
Iowa
bought
and
a
it's
dog.
nothing but corn and then Des Moines.
Hey, I bought a dog in Iowa.
Hmm.
Okay. I moved back. Okay. The dog did good. So when I went back, I took him back with me. But man, he
Hey,
didn't live that first winter.
What's up, man?
what's
What's
up?
up, T?
What's up, man? Yeah, I couldn't find it, and I went to the schedule page,
Yeah.
and it was saying one part said live now, the other part said live soon, and there was nothing there.
It didn't know what it wanted to be when it grew up. That's
Yeah, so I
awesome.
figured, I'll just go to my timeline. I kept scrolling through my main home feed, and bam,
Yeah.
found you guys.
Nice. Yeah, because you automatically popped up and I was like, oh, he's invited himself. That's awesome. So, all right, now that we got you, everybody, this is Darryl.
Hey, how's it going?
He's coming from Arkansas right now, the southern part of Arkansas. So if, we've got a
Yes.
few viewers from that general region, so they might be familiar with the area you're in. Tell us a little bit about yourself as far as like what we usually ask, like what got you into bullies, where you initially started from, and just kind of take it from there.
It was my cousin, which is my kennel partner, that convinced me to get into bullies. We had always been breeding, and I had always been breeding since I was in my early 20s, and mostly pit bulls. And I got into Rottweilers, back into pit bulls. Then I got into band dogs, then bull lurchers. And from there, he was always breeding. He got into cane corsos, and then for some
Ah,
reason, there were times where we were breeding, like we both kind of bred the same breeds when it came to pit bulls or Rottweilers. But like when I was into pit bulls, he was breeding Rotts. When I got into Rotts, he was back to breeding pit bulls.
about
And
right.
I got this wild idea I was going to create my own breed.
Oh,
And he called me, and everybody in the family was like, why do you guys never breed the same breed at the same time?
You ain't lying.
And you know what I mean? It just didn't make any sense. And he was in Northern California. I was in LA, in Southern California. And so I was, we were both kind of like, yeah. So then he called me before I called him and was like, yeah, we need to start breeding together. I was like, yeah, I got this great idea. I figured out the dogs I want to use. We're going to create our own breed. And he laughed. He could not stop laughing. And he was just like, hell no. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And he was like, we should breed bullies. And then I was like, hell no. And he did have one dog that I love, which was an XL that he had, Bolo. I don't remember who he was off of. Beautiful dog, huge, just muscled out. And I was like, yeah, but the rest of them, they don't look like Bolo. And I was like, nah, I'd rather create my own breed. And we went back and forth for a couple weeks, actually for a few months. And then he bought King of Diamonds. And I saw him. I was like, okay, he's cool. And so then I started really looking into the bullies. And then my thing at the time was we need to find something that we know's got more drive. He's a beautiful dog. You could tell he's going to be huge, but if I'm going to get in it, I want more, I want the drive. Yeah. We had been looking at one of the dogs that came up a lot was the Hulk at the time. And I fell in love with Kobe. And we ended up getting a daughter off of Kobe. He was bred to
Kobe's the Hulk's son, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, and thank you. So your cousin stopped you from creating your own breed.
Yes.
Do you want to thank him or strangle him? I can't figure it out. Like, we'll figure it out.
Well, once I got into the bully world on Facebook, I wanted to strangle him. But then I was like, okay, and he got a female off of that, and then it was my turn to pick a dog. So I started looking around. We got ripped off by this dude in Romania. I didn't want anything from the U.S. I wanted to get as far from the bully community as possible. Dang. And drifted into Romania by way of Facebook, and we got ripped off by one guy on a deposit. And I was pissed. And my cousin was like, he's in Romania, it's just $500, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, I got his wife's driver's license because I had money. I ordered, them the money. And I was like, nah, we can't I don't care where we are. We can't just let it go like that.
Right.
And trying to track him down, I ended up coming. I ended up coming across Paul Open Carl with Bully
more
Road
likely to find
Club.
Dracula.
And exactly. Exactly. So I ended up coming across Paul. Turned out Paul knew where he was and all these things. And he was like, you need to leave it alone. And he was like, but I got a breeding that I'm doing, blah, blah. So I kind of stayed in contact with Paul in Romania. And he did a breeding I liked, and I loved his female he had, Luna, at the time. And he ended up doing a breeding with Rhino, who was a champion. And he was a champion in Romania. And that was where we got Cardi Bull. So went to LAX. Yeah, went to LAX, picked her up. And her test was she had to grow up with my bull lurcher had passed. I had one of my band dogs, Floyd, at the time. I had a working Jack Russell. And so that was my test for bullies. Can you keep up with these dogs that I bred strictly for working? Yeah. And she fit right in. She fit right in. She even was testy with them, and we ran with it ever since then. And that's how we got into bullies.
Real quick, so you flew to Romania.
No, she was flown to me. I picked her up at LAX.
But how you met Paul when you're in Romania, or trying to hunt it?
Trying to hunt down the guy through Facebook and everything else, because I was putting them on blast every chance I had that they were
like, whoa, wait a minute.
So Paul,
yeah.
Nice.
I'll help.
And somehow I came across Paul. And then I started coming across other people that they had ripped off. So when I came across Paul, turned out he had ripped him off. And
Really?
you know,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, the guy ripped Paul off, and then I started looking at
6
his
degrees of
dogs.
Romanian. Come on, man. Okay.
Yep,
That's
there
cool how
you go.
like that though. Like, man, because y'all got ripped off, y'all met each other, and
Now y'all
That
family.
you know what I mean?
that. But
Now
he's a great guy, great family, and he was
Yeah.
the one like because I think he kind of had heard that there's this dude in America trying to find I forget what the dude's name. It was Brenner something,
Yeah.
and so when I got a hold of him, he was kind of like, dude, I've been kind of hearing about you trying to track him down. And he was like, dude, just let it go. He started, you know, let me. He was like, why you're not getting it from America? And I want something outside because we didn't want anything a part of
Yeah.
any of the major kennels and the major
Yeah.
bloods and all that stuff. And that's how I got Cardi Bull. They flew her in. She was in her. It was her kennel. A bunch of huge jet engines and car engines all piled up around her, and there she was. And I went and been in love with her ever since.
Heck yeah.
Now
Hey
I do
man,
have a
I'm kind
question.
of curious. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm kind of curious, man. You said you already had the dog that you was gonna make a breed up. What dog was you gonna put together
Thank
to
you.
make your breed
I
up?
want to know this.
Okay.
Yeah, low key, I kind of want to know what you were. What's not like
And
the
tell
whole
us,
recipe, but
tell
the
us,
whole recipe.
and tell us what this dog's supposed to look like, close to or
That I
anything.
have no idea what it was going to turn out like. I have no idea.
Again, thank you so much for his cousin.
Get up. Bruce had to get up.
All I was focused on was it being able to work. That was it. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be versatile. So I had my bull lurcher at the time, which was a cross between pit bull and greyhound. And I was 3 generations in on her. I had my band dog Floyd. He was 3/4 old family red nose, Norad line pit bull, and
Nice.
1/4 boxer, but came from a inbreeding. So his dad was half boxer through protection lines and half old family red nose pit bull,
That's a
and
lot of
then bred back to his mom, and that's what created Floyd. And so I knew that was going to be my start for the large size, but then I wanted to bring it down, and it was Patterdale crossed with it was a hound. Um, Patterdale. I know I was going to have to bring the size up a little bit. Patterdale, if I'm not mistaken, I was thinking Beagle. Yes. Take that to an Italian Greyhound and then start to cross them. And not
Dang.
Italian Greyhound, but whip it. And then
Yeah,
slowly
okay.
bring it all together. And that was my plan.
Dang.
That was
You
my
were trying to
plan.
come up with a speed demon that has energy for
So
years.
so look, so
Oh,
so after all this breeding, when the end of the road, you're gonna say, that's it right there,
That's
right?
it. And yo,
That's
it
what
took
you go.
forever.
That's what you know.
I'm 50 years old. So I kind of knew it was going to take forever. And then right when I said that's it, my funeral would probably be the next day. And I was cool with that. I was cool with that.
I
You know
decided
what I
a
mean?
happy man. Oh my God.
oh,
Mercy on my soul.
Oh,
I was cool with that.
that's
And
great.
my
That's
cousin
great.
was
That's
like,
a
it's
good
gonna
one,
take
man.
you forever. This makes no sense. And
You were
I was like, we
ready
could
for
Oh,
do
a
that's
it.
a
long
good
day.
one, man.
his last words is "That's it."
Yeah, that's it. And then
Oh,
Oh
Oh, bless your
man,
heart.
that's funny.
Oh,
Golly.
God.
but
Well,
you know, you did
so,
a lot of research.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
your dogs to be able to formulate an idea like that, and that's neat. And I know we were getting to the drive part, so obviously you like little driving
yeah,
dogs.
yes, definitely.
Well, I
Definitely.
want to know what you define as drive, because this word gets thrown out a lot, and a lot of people feel like drive can basically almost be connected with aggression or like
Right.
game drive. So what is your definition of drive in
To
like in that regard?
to me, drive is what I try to explain to people is all dogs have the same drives. Every single dog on the planet, every breed, they all have the same drives. The only thing that differs, and that's that those drives are what make up the temperament of your dog. But what separates them is each of those drives is set at different thresholds. And that's all it is. So whether it's play drive, pack drive, protection drive, rank drive, dominance drive, all dogs have the same. Nobody's at zero because they're all dogs. So a lot of times I do consultations with different breeders that are trying to specifically breed for temperament. And what I try to explain to them is if you break it down on a scale of 1 to 5, and I always tell them low, because there's no such thing as zero. So low, low to medium, medium, medium to high, and then high. If you break everything down in that way, you'll always be on target even as you learn drive. So let's say I have a dog and I think this dog's got a medium to high drive, and this dog's got a low drive, but I want to breed those dogs because I want to lower the drive. Then as you learn that this dog maybe isn't really medium to high, maybe it's lower, and maybe this dog, though I thought it was low, maybe it is considered low to medium. It's cool because you're still basing off of 1 through 5. So if 4 lowers to 3 because you've learned more, but then 2 is just going to lower to 1, you're still connecting the same variation of dogs. So the more you learn about it, doesn't change what you did in your breeding.
Right.
It just gives you a better target to hit. And so that's what I always say. The more you learn about the drives that make up a dog and understand that there is no such thing as zero, that you're dealing with some type of drive. They all have the same drives. It's just a matter of what the threshold is set at. And if you balance those thresholds from 1 to 5, you'll hit your mark every single time. You'll hit your mark. But the better you understand it, the closer you're going to get to your mark.
Nice. Let's see, I want to say it was Adam had a question about, there it is. He said, what are you feeding your dogs currently? And he had 3 question marks after that. So I'm assuming that he meant it. Like, what are you currently feeding your dogs since you have so many, and especially of different breeds?
So, well, right now I have all bullies. My Jack Russell passed.
I'm sorry.
She passed at what? I think 15. And the last one to go was Floyd, which was the band dog, and he passed. What was Floyd, about 12 or 13? I think he was when he passed. We feed very basic. A lot of bully breeders aren't going to like what I'm about to say. Go ahead, and I'm going to say it. I do not get caught up in the environment and all that other stuff when it comes to food. I look at kibble like it's a filler. We feed dog chow, regular Purina dog chow. Now, I mix it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mix it with raw ground beef, sardines, chicken feet, and I sprinkle black pepper on every day on their food. So the reason I do the black pepper is because it helps your dogs get the enzymes going, and they're going to get from whatever you're feeding, whether it's filet mignon or a cup of noodles, they're going to pull more nutrients from it because it gives their enzymes a kick. So every day they get Purina dog chow, black pepper, and plain yogurt. That's every day. The yogurt for their probiotics and everything.
Right.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I call that protein day. That's when I do the raw ground beef, chicken feet, and the sardines. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that's veggie day. So that's when I take the same thing, but no protein. I just mix in spinach, sweet potato, 1 clove of garlic for each dog, strawberries, blueberries, and that's that. And then Sunday, nobody eats. They fast on Sundays.
That's good. Yeah.
We just got done talking about that.
Yeah, they fast on Sundays. But I know a lot of dogs in the bully community, they eat this and they break out and they get one of the biggest things with us was we want to know allergy issues. So every dog here blue, brown, purple, whatever it is, there's no allergy issues on our yard. And we kept it that way by grilling. You know, now I get nervous. So when I hear somebody, when we go to get a dog and I find out they feed raw, I'm like, how do you know that they don't have allergy issues if you feed raw? Because when you get a dog from us, I don't care if you want to feed it steaks or you want to feed it Old Roy. I want our dogs to be able to eat that. And that's our thing. Every dog here, once they hit 6 months old, they don't get anything but Purina dog chow. I don't put anything to it, and we wait to see if they break out any hives. And then now that none of them did, yeah, so they go through 6 months where that's all they eat. And we give them up to about a year. And once they hit a year old and we notice there wasn't any issues, then bam. Now the dogs that we produced, I don't put them through that. But any dog that we bought, I put them through that because I want to see if they're going to break out in any allergy issues or anything. And we have no allergy issues with any of our dogs. None of our customers have any allergies issues with any of our dogs. And I know a lot of people say it's not the breeding, it's the environment and the changes of the food. And I get that, but how come your neighbor's mutt is eating Old Roy and there's nothing going on? So you still got to do something with our breeding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just the way I look at it. That's what our dogs eat.
I like
we
that.
fast on Sundays. We fast, no eating on Sunday. Every now and then we'll do a bone broth on Sundays because my wife hates Sundays that the dogs don't eat. And well, I'm gonna make them a bone broth. And okay, go ahead and make them a bone broth. But
Mom mode. I feel her. Like fasting them on Sundays. Well, which is actually really funny. They actually started that trend on their own.
Yes.
On Sundays, like I'd put their food out and they would kind of nose at it for a second and go lay down. And then they wouldn't touch it for the rest of the day. That was back when I was free feeding. They just wouldn't touch it. So I just stopped giving it to them on Sundays. I was like, well, y'all picked this day, so I guess this is what we're doing now. Go. So yeah.
Darryl, explain that. What's the importance of fasting? What does that do to them?
It gives them a chance, one, to just clear their system out. Now, I don't fast, but I know it would be good for me if I did. But I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? But you want to give them the chance just to clean their system out. This is what I always explain to people. Dogs are predators. Even your Yorkie, it's a predator. And the average predator is only successful 1 out of every 10 attempts.
There we go.
Okay. Those that live in a pack, they're a little more successful. We're talking 1 out of 7 attempts. So that means these animals are created to eat and then not only go a long time without eating again, but exert a lot of energy.
Yeah, in the meantime.
To finally get and catch what they wanted to catch so that they can eat again. So there's got to be something about what nature's doing, you know what I mean, that keeps them what they're supposed to be. Now, we've domesticated dogs, 20, 30,000 years, okay. But they're still predators. They're still predators. So I do try to, keep them focused with that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, question about how you exercising your dogs. Does the age obviously come in play a huge factor in the level of exercise that you do for your dogs, or
age and,
how do you change that in terms of their age?
Age and size. It's hard for me because I used to condition dogs for people when I was young. It's what I love to do. I train MMA fighters. I love coming up with, this is what you need to do to win, or this is what you need to do to get better. Mm-hmm. And I'm the same way with the dogs. So it's hard for me to wait with large dogs that 18 months, you know what I mean, to wait for those growth plates to connect and everything. But I wait. I'll still push them a little bit, but I wait. Once they hit about 1.5 years, I'm heavy with the flirt pole. I don't do the flirt pole like a lot of people whipping it all around, and that's not my strategy. I use the flirt pole to imitate, your regular cat meal. and we just go in a circle, we switch, go in another circle, we switch back and forth. So once they hit about a year and a half old, I'll push them, and I push them hard, just to see that I want me to quit before you quit. One of the things I do is I will start off with their favorite lure on the flirt pole. Once they get tired, I will wait, give them about, depending on how well the average dog will take about 8 minutes to recover fully. When they're in shape, they'll take about 3 to 5 minutes. And then after that, I switch it. Actually, no, I start off with the wiffle ball. That's what I start off with. It's not as exciting, and it's a little harder for them to grab.
Yeah.
But it's the flirt pole, so they're excited anyway. Once they tire out from the wiffle ball, I switch it to their soft toy, their favorite lure. Now it's easier for me to keep it from them because they're a little tired now. So that makes it easier for me where I don't have to wrestle them down to get it back. So this is my strategy. And I just do circles, and then I switch directions. And then the last thing I do to make sure that you're not so much into the target as you are into exercising is I work the flirt pole with nothing on it. I just rotate it. I take that toy off because I want to know that you enjoy exercising. You enjoy being pushed. And that's the last thing I do. And then after that, I move to the next dog. And other thing I pay attention to is whether the dog is left foot or right foot. If I'm not in the mood to really have to keep it away from the dog, and I know that the dog is left-footed, let's say, then I know as long as I'm going counterclockwise, you'll run a full circle, and it makes it easier for me to keep it from you. If I go clockwise, you're not as comfortable. Because the dog is going to want his left foot on the inside of the circle because it feels more stable.
Thank you. Oh.
A lot of years dealing with pit bulls.
What if your dog is ambidextrous? What then?
Those are the worst because here's the thing. When you go, if I go clockwise on a left-footed dog, they don't want to run in a full circle because I use a 10-foot flirt pole. They want to try to cut it off now. And that's when you're going to start seeing more agility and everything from them. And that's when it gets more difficult, to keep it from them and everything. But once you kind of know your dog and you work you kind of know. There's some dogs I can keep it right about here, about this far away from them. You know what I mean? Right. Without them getting it. So you kind of got to know the dogs. But when you go the opposite direction of that preferred foot, that's when they start using their brain a little more. They start trying to cut it off and things like that. But it's good because you're watching them jump. You're getting more agility when you work it that way.
Pause. How do you determine which is their dominant foot?
Wait till they're sitting or laying down. And when you call them to you, they'll start off with the first foot every time.
It'll start.
And whatever that.
So they want you to pivot?
What?
Come here.
Really?
I do it. And whatever that foot is, that's the foot they prefer. That's whatever they step out there with, that's going to be the foot they prefer. So
with the French toast.
So yeah, our dogs do prefer their left and right side.
Who right now online, I guarantee every one of our viewers.
Everybody's like,
hey,
come here.
Come here.
Hey, Chris Holiday said, you see what Chris said? Chris said, wait, what? What?
And I keep track of it. This dog's left foot, so I'm going to start the flirt pole going this direction. And
that makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense what you're saying. I just never even.
I just never considered it. It was like not even on my radar. Gee, I wonder if my dog is left or right-footed. That'll change the way I play. Or work them, and
That's how I do it. But the flirt pole, the spring pole, and then fetch. Being as creative as possible with fetch, bouncing that ball off as many things as I can. Throwing it as far as I can, and then just they never know what I'm going to do. I might throw it straight up. I might bounce it off the ground first. They never know what direction I'm going to throw it, what I'm going to throw it at, what it's about to bounce off of, and just to keep their mind going.
Man.
Wild. Dang. I'm still in shock. I was like, oh. All right then.
Oh
I
shoot!
think that just may have made my night. I'm about to call my dogs one by one. Matt's gonna be looking at me like, what are you doing? They were sitting, they were sleeping. What are you getting them all
Yeah,
riled up for? I
you'll
need to
notice it.
know.
Yeah, it's been
What
the
foot you like the best?
Adonis, get over here.
I'm like, on me, let's go.
Oh
Oh Lord. Oh wow, that was.
That
Oh.
no, that's crazy.
shoot, man.
I would
But
never considered that.
Yeah.
you know what it is when you getting into band dogs, you have to pit bulls the same thing. But with the band dogs, you really have to get into it because the people that are coming to you for them, they
Yeah.
want a dog that is gonna perform, whether it's hog hunting, whether it's protection. And for me, breeding band dogs was about getting the same thing out of every litter. I want to produce dogs that can do the hog hunting. I want to produce dogs that can do protection, and then keeping an eye on those pups, which ones are gonna be better for the work as far as hog hunting and which ones are going to be better, for protection,
Yeah.
and your more playful pups are always going to be the ones that are better for the hunting.
Yeah.
They're the more that's going to be more likely to get along with other dogs because the last thing you need to do is let your dog go for a hog and it goes attacking one of the hounds. And then you got your other dogs that are more reserved, and those are typically going to be the ones for protection. So you get clients coming to you and they're like, I want a hog hunter. Okay, well, these are the pups you need to look at. I want one for protection. Okay, well, these 3 pups over here are
All
the
right.
ones you need to look
Let's
at.
redirect.
Exactly.
Hey, with you
Hey,
so many breeds that you've bred, I know you said that the drive it's an of your dog, which that makes sense what you were saying. You said there was different levels of that drive or
Yes.
containment. What's the different containments you've seen? Like, where does the bully, like the American bully, rank in that? Like their temperament with the pit and things like
The
Rottweilers.
the bully, the drive is nowhere near that. Well, you got your performance pits, and then you got your everyday pits that your neighbor owns and says this is my pit bull. They're not at
They're
all the
not the
same.
same.
Yeah.
They're not the same.
The
Don't tell them that.
bully, you can't tell them that. Yeah, I don't tell them that. You know what I mean? And some of them I'm like, that's not a pit bull. You know what I
They
mean?
ruin their day.
But I don't say it. I just think it. And if I see it, even my wife, somebody would be like,
I bet your face goes.
yeah, my wife would kind of elbow me like, don't you start. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh,
Cover your face. Stop looking at
yeah,
them.
nice pit bull. Exactly. Exactly.
Can't take you
But
nowhere.
so bullies really, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Especially the XLs. You look at the pockets, they're starting to show a lot of bulldog traits these days. You get into, your classics. At one point, you could kind of compare them to an Amstaff, maybe American Bulldog type temperament. They're showing more bulldog traits now. They look more like the old standard. The standard
Yeah.
and the XL is all over the place. You get some XLs that take a lot after Mastiffs in their temperament. Some take after the American Bulldog, and then you got some that they kind of want to be a pit bull, they just can't. So it's bullies are all over the place.
God,
And
No matter how hard you try.
yeah, it's not gonna happen. I admire you for trying, but and
Yeah.
and you even look in the bully game, and I'll see people, talking about well, I bred my dog to this bully, and I had to water it down because he was game, and it's like, no, if you had a bully, it wasn't game. Never in the history of bullies has there ever been a game bully. That's a whole nother level of drive.
Yeah.
But we throw these words around: game, dog, man. I used to breed pit bulls, and you know what I mean. It all kind of comes from the same thing.
Yeah.
So with bullies, it's all over the place. What we wanted, and the last dogs that we got, which will probably be the last dogs that we end up purchasing, we wanted dogs that we knew would be protective.
Right.
We wanted dogs that we knew would be able to be cool around other dogs, but maybe not be your dog park dog. I
Yeah.
can get you your dog park dog. We might have a couple of those in the litter of 50,
Yeah.
but that's,
Got the
yeah,
drive of a pug.
exactly. But pretty much if you've got other dogs in your home, I want to know that when you get a bully from us, you're not going to have any issues.
Yeah.
But you're going to need to be that dominant factor in the home. I want to know that you can take that dog out in public and it's cool with other dogs and everything like that. But I don't want a dog you get from us backing down to anything at any point, anytime, ever. You know what I
Okay.
mean? We kind of have a thing where, you know, people used to get mad when I would say it during my lives, but in my mind, though I know it's not necessarily true, it's just kind of the way what I say to focus. I look at a dog that bites you just as bad as a dog that won't bite to protect you. And that's
Okay.
just how I feel about it. I want to know that this dog is going to protect its owners. That's what we come from. That's what, you know, my cousin and we both come from. And I don't want, you know, I've seen there's a video of a guy, he's got a bully. And actually, there's a couple videos, but there's one video where this guy's got his bully. Him and some other guy get in an argument, they get in a fight, and the bully's not doing anything.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
couple times where it looked like it nipped at
In
him.
my, yeah, like kind of, I think I know that it's like outside of a gas station or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. Now
Yeah.
there
And I
was
remember that, like that dog is just like, he thinks y'all are playing.
there was a bully show. I'm not gonna say the person's name or the dog's name. People are breeding to this dog though, and I'm not gonna say whether they're male or female, but the one human gets in a fight with the other human at the show. That human's dog is a champion, and the dog did nothing.
I know what you're talking
It
about.
did nothing. To me, if I'm the judge and I see that one security, they got to leave the show, but you got to give me my ribbon back. You know what I mean? Like, great structure and all that other stuff, but I need that ribbon back because he watched you you were doing well in the fight. Don't get me wrong, but he watched it take place and he didn't
Yeah.
do anything. And I can't have that. I want to one day have that grand champion, but you know, I've seen dogs in the ring and there's a trick I guess they do where they kind of walk their dog up close on the other dog in front of them to kind of throw him off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seen that.
Well, the dog in front turns to snap at the other dog, and the other dog cowers down, like full laid down.
Yeah.
And the person was like, well, he's trained to do that because I don't want him fighting. I'd rather be sent home. I don't want you snapping at my dog and my dog isn't ready to get down right then and there. Now, I don't want him trying to kill your dog, but I do want him to try to take advantage. I'm not going to let him go to do that. But give me a growl, give me a pull, give me a, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't.
Give me I wish you would.
Yeah,
That's all I want.
you
I
know
just
what
want to,
I
I
mean?
wish you would.
Because if you're not gonna
Yeah.
give me that, you're not gonna be bred. I don't care how many ribbons you get, but you're not gonna be bred. We have too many other customers that come to us, and they're not all breeders. So that's the way I look at it, and that's the goal that we have. You know, we do have dogs so far. Most of our dogs are living with other dogs. They can be a little dominant, so every now and then we get that call, and I'll just kind of let them know, well, this is what you're
Yeah.
going to need to do. Don't separate them though, you know, but this is what you're going to kind of need to do. You know, and so we let people know, you know, that when you get a dog from us, more than likely you're not going to have any issues. If you do have issues, make sure you call us, let us know. But we've got a good balance of what we need, and so far our temperament is pretty cemented in through the traits and through the dogs that we bred. Now it's about moving on to, you know, the structure and things like that.
Okay.
Have you, like, so say someone comes, you know, to buy a pup from you. Have you ever like actually like had to have this conversation with somebody where they're set on a specific puppy? You know, this puppy is going to be more than they can handle with the current lifestyle that they have. You know that in their hands, this dog could probably get out of control. Because they don't have the diligence, they don't have the authority, they don't have the consistency. You know, if you knew it was going to be a problem, have you had to have that conversation with somebody and basically either deny them that particular puppy or just say you probably should never have dogs?
Yes, not with bullies. Our bullies are pretty versatile. With Rottweilers, with band dogs. I know my cousins have a few situations with Cane Corsos. He's actually had to turn, at least with me breeding, with the Rottweilers, I've had to turn people down. Like, this is not going to be a good fit for you. With the band dogs, because they were band dogs, the kind of person was already kind of looking for that. But I might have to say, okay, you got wife, kids. This dog might be this pup right here might be a little better for you than the one that you liked his color or his personality as an 8-week-old puppy. With bullies, we haven't really had that issue. You know, we had one guy who lived with his mom and he wanted a big dog. And I kind of had to let him know that your mom's older. These dogs are all going to be big no matter what. But you don't necessarily need the biggest one. You know what I mean? And you also don't need the most rambunctious one. And once he kind of got that, we kind of got him what he wanted. The dog's 3 years old now, and both him and his mom, you know, they love it. But there's other puppies from that same litter that I think would have been a little much. You know what I mean?
Much, yeah. Good. Well, no, that's good. I mean, some people that never factors in, and like they have people come in, you know, to buy a pup from them, and they don't care which one you pick as long as it's not the one that they want to keep. Like they're not thinking about your lifestyle. They're not thinking about what's going to happen to this, you know, to this dog, or what's going to do to your house or your, you know, property if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, our litters are pretty consistent in their temperament, and their energy level. So yeah, with bullies, we haven't really had to. Like, I could say Cardi Bull, for instance, would not be for every home, but she's also kind of the way she is because of the dogs that she grew up with. You know what I mean? So a lot of that was her environment rather than her actual genetics.
But you know, raised by Jack Russell.
Hey, there you go. There you go. And the Jack Russell wants to fight you every other day. There you go.
They are,
you know what I mean?
They're nuts. They are 20,000 pounds as far as they're concerned. They are a dinosaur.
Her and Cardi were mortal enemies, but they had to be around each other nonstop. But Cardi would play with Floyd, and anytime they're playing, I would make Fox, which was the Jack Russell. And she was only about 17, 20 pounds. And I would make her stay out of it because the first thing she wants to do is bite Cardi's back legs while she's roughhousing. So then Cardi gets mad. She snaps at her. And that snap doesn't do anything for Fox. So a quick little mini fight breaks out. And you gotta kind of stop it. Yeah, so she came up with a pretty intense household when it was her and those two.
Yeah, I can't, like, the Jack Russells have, I don't know. I've never met a Jack Russell that's actually like super duper calm. They are either a mile a millisecond. They're always into stuff. Like, they hide things.
Yes.
Like, you'll be rummaging, like you'll be getting ready for bed, patting your pillow, you know, and then there's, what the fuck is this? Like, they put something under your pillow.
I was looking for that. Yeah, exactly. They're extreme. You know, my daughter was, she had this hamster, and my work schedule shifted.
Lord.
So I ended up, when I would work late, I come home, and my thing is I want to get to sleep. And of course, that's when the hamster gets on its little wheel. And it used to drive me crazy. So convinced my daughter that we could, you know, put the hamster in the garage. She's like, okay, we could go ahead and put that. So somehow the hamster got out.
Oh.
And one day the dogs are out in the front yard, and there's this scratch at the door. So I opened the door, and it was my bull lurcher. And I could see she had something in her mouth. And I realized it's the hamster. But then when I look at it, it's still alive. And she puts it down. And when she put it down, hamster was, other than the drool, the hamster was perfectly fine. Now, that bull lurcher is a dog that has killed bobcats, coyotes, rabbits, raccoons. For whatever reason,
to you. Take it back.
yes, she knew not to kill the hamster, and she brought it to the front door.
Oh.
Lurcher.
My Jack
Like those
Russell, though,
hounds are.
my Jack Russell I got her early at 6 weeks, so I want to say she was probably about 8 weeks at the time. As she puts it down, the Jack Russell's coming around the corner. I'm hesitating because I'm not big on picking up rodents. So I'm like figuring out how I'm going to grab this thing. Now, my daughter will hold it all the time, but I'm kind of like, yeah, exactly. You know what I
Put on
mean?
gloves and shit. Like,
Yeah,
what do
so
I do with
and Jack Russell grabs it. It's got those sharp puppy teeth.
Oh no!
And that was it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. So on one hand, I'm like impressed with the bull lurcher. Next, I'm scared to pick up the hamster because I don't want to get bit.
A range of emotions.
And then the Jack Russell comes, and that was it for my daughter's hamster. But that is just them. You know what I mean? It didn't sniff it. It just only 8 weeks old, just went straight in. Jack Russells are nuts.
That's what they're bred for. When people are just like, oh, it's how you raise them. I'm like, tell that to a blue heeler. Like,
exactly. There you go. Exactly.
I don't care how you raise them. They're still going to be snipping at the back end of your,
No one teaches a pointer to point. It is what they're bred to do.
Hey, Darryl, so back to your breeding program.
There's a reason why Goldens love to play fetch.
There you go.
You've been locking in the drive, the temperament. That's what you're saying. So you're trying to lock that in before, because you said structure and things like that. So your main thing is temperament, more of a mind thing than more of a physical thing, correct?
Temperament, no. We wanted ability. I break dogs down into three things: temperament, ability, and aesthetics. Those are the three things that I'm looking at.
Okay.
Temperament is the first thing that we started breeding for. Getting dogs that we knew were going to match in temperament. I'm in the bully breed, you hear a lot of bloodlines and everything, but what bully breeders don't realize is a lot of that concept of bloodlines, and I need this bloodline to get this, came from the old pit bull world. And a lot of those pit bull dudes were pushing bloodlines so that you would buy their dog. It wasn't because they had done anything proven with that bloodline. That marketing scheme has made its way into the bully world. And being my age, being in my early 20s in the 90s, going to Venice Beach in California, where a lot of these dogs, where I remember when it was nothing but pit bulls and Rottweilers every Sunday at Venice Beach. And then all of a sudden around 94, 95, you started seeing these dudes showing up with dogs they were calling pit bulls, but I knew they weren't pit bulls. And so I remember how this all got going. You know what I mean? I remember when Gray Line came out, got popular.
That was ground zero.
You know, so I remember, and so my thing is matching traits is just as important as matching bloodlines. It's actually more important because that's the only reason you're into the bloodline. So I could take this scatterbred dog, and as long as, if I want to breed for 3 years and that scatterbred dog has 3 years, then as long as I breed it to another scatterbred dog with 3 years, guess what I'm going to get? I don't need the bloodline that's known for having 3 years. And that's what I think a lot of people miss in the bully world is your pedigree, your bloodline. It's not about names. It's not about kennels. It's about traits. And so the first thing we started looking for was the cool thing about the bully world is a lot of people are somewhat inexperienced, but think they're experienced, even though they've been breeding bullies 10, 15 years. So if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers, even if they don't know they gave it to you. And so those were the things that we were kind of, you know, looking for as we were picking dogs. Is like, okay, we knew we wanted size. King gave us the size we needed. Because we knew everybody when we first got in the bully world, and they were all hating F the throwers and da 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 da, and King of Diamonds ain't da da da. Well, we weren't trying to produce another King of Diamonds. The reason we got King of Diamonds is because we knew we were coming down in size, but we still wanted to maintain a XL.
Yeah.
But we knew we were going to come down in size because we weren't going to be breeding for size or looks or anything like that. So we knew we needed a large dog. King stands like 26 to 27 inches at the withers.
Wow.
He's got
I didn't know he's that big.
Yeah, he's got a 27, 28 inch head. 163 pounds. Now we keep him pretty lean. So right now he's here. I'd say right now he's probably about 155. I don't think he's at 160. His heaviest, he was at 163, but he was still a good looking dog. When we had him at 163, most of the bully community would have probably had him at 170, 175. So we've always kept him a lean dog, but he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So we needed that because we knew we were going to come down because size was never going to be another factor. You know what I mean? So once we started pushing for temperament, it was just about looking for temperament. So like I was saying earlier, we break the thresholds within drives down into 5 categories. So when we're questioning, and then my cousin, if I call you and I talk to you about the drive of the dog, what it is you do with the dog, will it play for forever or will it not? You know, some breeders are like, oh, you know, he'll do a couple times and then after that, blah, blah, blah.
He's gassed.
Breeders are, then other breeders are like, oh, well, no, he'll go forever. And so even like that with a dog that you say, well, he gets tired in this, okay, but he gets tired, but does he? Like if Cardi Bull gets tired, she's not going to stop. She's going to continue to keep going. I have to stop her from hurting herself. So when I say, okay, what do you think you'd give the dog based off when you talk to the owner, my cousin, to be like, based off the mom, the dad, I would say they're probably around a 3. And I'm like, okay, that's what I gather also. I was probably around 2.5, 3 also. And then let's go ahead and get that dog. So then we get the pups and we're asking them for the pups with the most drive. That's even with Cardi Bull, I had picked another pup, and then he just happened to post a video where he was out in the yard playing soccer.
Damn it, Paul!
And I saw her intensity as a pup going after the ball, and I called him up immediately, and I said, the one dog, that dog that was going after the ball, the little pup that was going after the ball, which one was that? And he was like, well, they were all going after the ball. And I'm like, no, the one that you got, I need you to watch it again, your video, watch it again. The one that
got to it first.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, that's this one. I said, has anybody picked her? And he was like, no. I changed. I want that one. You know what I mean? But that's how we were breaking it down. We needed to be able to come down. Like I always say, I'd rather have a dog I got to pull back than the dog I got to pull forward. And that's what we were looking for. Yeah. And also, King of Diamonds, he's just that dude. He's cool. You know what I mean? He gets along with cats, butterflies. You know what I mean?
Butterflies.
If I throw a ball and it's just him, he'll go after it. If I throw a ball and it's him and Justice or a couple other dogs, he stays with me like he threw the ball. You know what I mean? He's that's just him. He's just cool. That's him. And he's big, so you kind of gotta expect that, but he kind of knows I'm king. You know what I mean? And so it was a matter of, we knew he would kind of water down things, so we had a lot of room to play. The hard part was picking the pups from the breeding of him and Cardi Bull. That was, so we kept those pups for, I think we kept those pups about 6 months, that whole litter. Yeah. And
if you can do it.
Yeah,
if you can, that's actually kind of a better way to go
11 pups in that litter.
Wow.
Some people, I knew their pups we weren't going to keep. So I would call them and I'd be like, hey, you know what? I know I told you 6 months, but your pup's ready. You know what I mean? Bam,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
We're
We'll
ready for
let
you
it
to
go
come
now.
pick. But we didn't let anybody pick those pups till 4 months old.
Ah,
And then it came down to Aziz, Gage, and Onyx. One of the females we kept close, but we kind of knew we were going to start all over when it came to females. So we were more focused on the males because we knew we were going to want to get a female off of whoever they were bred to. And came down to Aziz, Gage, Onyx. We ended up pushing those clients off to the next litter. Aziz went to my best friend, and then when he hit 3, he moved out here to Arkansas with us. So he's here now with his mom and his dad. Onyx went to my cousin, and Gage went to my other cousin, which is his sister. So we kept them close. And, now we're at the point where it's like, okay, we can go ahead. As long as it's coming from our production, we can go ahead and let people pick them at about 8 weeks. But we're still going to wait for them to be 8 weeks for people to pick them. And then about 10, then we'll let them go at about 10 weeks old because we still, kind of want to watch them. This litter will probably do that way. And I'd say after this, when Aziz is a grandpa, that's probably when we'll start letting people pick their pups at, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and things like that. But right now, we want to be able to analyze them for as long as possible.
now, do you have a litter that's coming soon or already on the ground? Because you
got a
act
litter
like
that's on.
you act like this is present tense right now.
Got a litter right now. Aziz and Cardi Bull are officially grandparents. King of Diamonds and Cardi Bull are officially grandparents. We got 2 dogs from Luna of Mystic Moon Bullies. We got Blue off of her. We got him at 8 weeks. He is off her female bred to Dooley, Grand Champion Dooley from Fred Duran. So we got him, and then we picked up, but the reason I wanted that, I had met Dooley at a show, loved him, really liked him. I saw Fred. Me and Fred had been talking, and then they kind of announced that whatever show, I don't really know the classifications for the shows, but whatever he had just won, it was coming down to him and one other dog. So the judge was calling him. So as we were talking, he was like, "Hey, well, come with me. I got to get Dooley ready for the next show." So I'm following him and Dooley, and I didn't catch what he said to Dooley, but I saw him turn on, and at that moment, I fell in love with Dooley. I had already, because Dooley's probably one of my, he's one of my favorite bullies, but just to know he knew he was about to go into the show ring, it reminded me of dogs hunting, and like he knew he was about to perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just went click.
And you know what I mean? He wasn't looking at me no more. He wasn't looking at Fred anymore. He knew like it was showtime. So to me, it kind of let me know like this, beyond him just being a good looking dog, he understands his environment and everything. And then Luna is a huge fan of gray line, and she's got heavy gray line, blue line in her dog. So when she did that breeding, I was like, I got to be a part of that. And so we end up getting Blue from her. And then she also had Zara, who is heavy gray line, blue line. And when she was like, "Hey, I got another dog. She's very driven. You might like her." I was like, "Okay, well, let's send me a video." She shows me a video. She's holding her, and Zara's going nuts. The husband's filming, and I was like, "I'll take her." And so Zara's probably about a year and a half when we got her, and went picked her and Blew up. And so right now it's just about matching those 2 with the right dogs that we have here, and continuing what. But yeah, we have a litter on the ground, which is Aziz bred to Zara. She's been a great mom. We got 6 pups off that litter, 3 boys, 3 girls. So they're about 2 weeks old right now. So just waiting, everybody's falling in love because there's two pups that are mostly white. And I'm just kind of, you know what I mean? I'm not picking anything yet, you know what I mean? So we'll probably keep a male and a female off of that litter. I'm trying to ignore my wife's favorite one and my son's favorite one, and you know what I mean?
It's inevitable. It is inevitable.
Yeah,
Your family members are going to be like, "Oh, but I want," and they name them. You're like, "No."
Oh yeah.
God, don't name them.
They're being born
Caleb
and
knows all
they're
about
like, this
that.
one's lefty and this one's and I'm like, you guys know I'm intentionally not remembering any of that. You know what I mean? So and I try to leave the pups alone as much as possible until they hit that 5 weeks. And so at 2 weeks old, like I'll move them here and move them there just to kind of keep them out of her way. But she's been doing real good with them. So we got one litter on the ground. Cardi Bull will be doing her last breeding. When she goes into heat, that'll be in about 4 months. I'll be breeding her to Blue. And then we'll be going from there. And trying after that, we'll be keeping everything in-house.
Nice. Breed for you.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam,
I mean,
what age do you pick your puppies now? I know you were saying kind of the development, it was 6 months, then it was, you're talking about 8 weeks. Like your current litter that's on the ground, I'm guessing where he's kind of question at.
My goal, luckily, this litter is, there's a few people online that we're looking at as possibly getting maybe 1 to 2 pups. But luckily, this litter will be going to clients that weren't able to get things off the last litter. Looks like the majority of them. Plus, we're going to be keeping 1 to 2. You know what I mean? There's only 6. So, so a lot of people are going to be left out. I apologize. We will get to a point where we know we've got what we want.
Yeah.
And shit, we'll sell you every litter, every pup except for 1. But right now, we're trying to get there. So
when are you going to pick those 2 pups that you're going to keep? Like, what age are you going to pick the ones that you're keeping?
I will probably start looking at picking around 6 weeks old.
Okay.
I'm gonna want to see how alert they are. Right around 5 weeks, I always get my favorite ball is the Chuck It ball, the orange and blue with the blue stripe.
Yeah.
That thing bounces off of everything.
It does.
So I love it. That's my favorite ball.
Dangerous. Don't ever throw that indoors.
Exactly. And so I'm addicted to that ball. I like the little medium-sized one. So when we get the pups, right around 5 weeks old, I'll start messing around with that ball. Getting them used to the sound of it bouncing and getting them attracted to it. And I'll start doing that about 5 weeks. Make sure they're all interested in that ball. At about 6 weeks old, I will end up being in a room. I haven't picked which room yet. And I'll be playing with them, and I will throw that ball outside of the room somewhere where they can't see it, but they can hear it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pay attention to who noticed that they heard the ball bouncing.
Yeah. Right.
And that'll be when the picking process starts.
Down looking at you like, you threw that.
Yeah, exactly.
You should go get that.
I want to see, you know what I mean, who's paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And then those pups are going to move up on the list. And then I'll be noticing, even now I do kind of pay attention to who fights the hardest for a nipple and things like that. Who kind of gets lost in, you get some, you'll see them kind of get lost in the blanket and they give up. You get other ones that, they're lost in the blanket and they won't stop. They're screaming, crying. They're trying to get out of there. I'm paying attention to all of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So about 5 weeks old, I'll start to really pay attention. I'll get my little Excel spreadsheet and start keeping track of who does what, who doesn't. Then about 6 weeks old, I'll start picking, knowing that within 3 days to a week, some of you are going to get replaced by others because they start developing different, you know what I mean, especially temperament wise. So I would say I start beginning the process at 5. I start picking at 6, knowing that some year that is going to change. By 7 to 8 weeks, I pretty know who it is I want, and at that point, that's when I start looking at their structure, how they stand when they're alert.
Yeah.
Right around 7 to 8, but probably about 8 weeks old. That's when. So this litter we'll be keeping till they're 8. That's when the picking will start at 8 weeks old. Probably about 7 that week before they turn 8, because all of a sudden I know people are going to be calling at 8 weeks. That those
But
days
you're
before that,
ready to get rid of these dogs.
yeah, that's when I'm gonna start saying, okay, we need to keep this pup. We know for sure we're guaranteed gonna keep one of the females. So that's when I'll start picking this, right? I'll start looking at how they're built, their structure, because a lot of dogs, regardless of what they go through when they start hitting that lanky stage, at 8 weeks old, you can kind of see how they're gonna be when they hit adults. They'll become a mess in between there.
Yeah.
But once they hit that, about a year old, you'll start to see what you saw at 8 weeks. You know what I mean? So that's when I'll start picking it.
So Adam had a question earlier, and I was waiting for a good opportunity to ask it.
I cannot find the live on Facebook. What page? Do you know what page it's on?
Well, it's actually on its own event. Like if it's in the form of an event. Tuesday Night Bowling.
Okay.
That's how we did it. Yeah.
Trying to find it to share it, and I cannot find it for some reason. Let me go.
Well, you can also start like since you're in the live and everything, you can actually start tagging people in the comments. That's
okay.
how Caleb does it.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
But so Adam was asking a question, and it's pertinent now. So you're actively breeding this, like obviously for temperament and everything like that. So you know that, for example, King of Diamonds is 26 inches at the withers, right? In order to kind of get closer to what the breed standard dictates, you need to kind of shrink that a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's asking what you do to kind of get closer to that breed standard height.
One, I don't focus so much on the breed standard as I focus on breed type.
Okay.
So when we know we're coming down in size, because we just don't want a bunch of dogs that big.
Right.
Because I got 8 dogs here. I don't need 8 King of Diamonds, running around here. So we knew we were going to come down. We just knew that the XL being from 20 to 23 inches, the show world dominates Facebook. Facebook dominates the bully breed. So we knew that we wanted to be right about around that 23 inches for our dogs and for our customers. 23, I'm even cool with 24. I would, because Cardi Bull is right around 20 inches, 21 inches. Aziz is probably 22. She's just, she's just a thick girl.
Big girl.
But
big.
I think Aziz is probably about 22, 23 inches.
Okay, so you're already
so we're pretty much there. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It's going to be hard for them to produce something at standard size. Now, Blue is fairly small in height. He's probably right around 19, because Dooley was on the smaller size. So
he's short.
So Blue is right around Blue's probably about 19, maybe 20 inches. So it'll be interesting to see what we get from it when we start to bring it together. But we want the dogs to be around about 23 inches. I would love for every dog to come out 23 inches. I would be cool with that. We won't so much focus on height. When we do get to the aesthetics of the dog, there will be more of a focus on the structure rather than the height. So I'm assuming we could end up with some standards. I don't see that happening. But I think that most of the dogs will be in that. I don't see
So
any of them being below
Oh, yeah.
20 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and bringing King down, and Gage is a little taller than Aziz. So he's not as tall as King of Diamonds. But he's close there. You know what I mean? He
It's like
is
probably
close.
24.
Yeah, he's about 24, maybe 25 inches. But he was the tallest out of the litter. The rest are shorter. So so as far as bringing it down, it's just a matter of breeding it to, a shorter female,
Yeah.
on the shorter end of, the XL height.
My dog's awake now. Let me say something real
Okay,
quick.
test it.
Come here. You are right-footed. Okay. Sorry, mommy didn't mean to bother you. Go back to sleep. He got up to scratch himself, and I'm like, "Ooh, perfect opportunity." He's already sitting down.
You are right-footed like you expected that. Just like your mama, you're right-footed.
There you go. Exactly.
Oh man, well, man, we're his favorite. Whatever, it's fine. Now I have to do it to Adonis when I leave the office.
There you go. But yeah, so but no, that was so we're not focused on color. We did one Merle breeding. That came out funny. We got
Funny.
one. Yeah, it's easy I'm not gonna say it on live, but it's easy to look up and see where that litter came from. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very popular Merle dog. The rumor was that he got the Merle from an Alapa.
Yep, the blue bull.
Okay, so we have a female off of this Merle dog. She's rock solid, thick girl. You could barely see the Merle in her because she's that fawn color. Bred her to what is that guy's kennel called? He's a friend of my cousin's. I forget what his kennel's called. So anyway, I was like, it's a Merle breeding, whatever. You know what I mean? Got a nice litter. The males look real good. I'm proud of them. The female, there was one female was supposed to go to a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
She looks and acts just like a Catahoula.
Oh no!
If you look on my page, you'll find a picture of her in the back of my side by side because she is my dog for the woods. She can run like the wind.
She's fishing stuff down, climbing trees, talking.
I get on that Polaris
talk.
Ranger and I'm going through the woods. As soon as we get to the woods, I open up the gate where our family's property is. I open up the gate. When that gate opens, she knows she's allowed out there because we're like 5 minutes from where we all go hunting.
Yeah.
So I don't even drive the street in a car. I just jump on the side by side and the Ranger, and I take that because everywhere we live, people are going through the drive-through with four-wheelers and stuff. So I get on the Polaris. I drive that to the woods. It's about 5 minutes away. I open up the gate. When that gate opens, she knows she jumps out the back of the side-by-side, and she follows me through the woods. She loves it. But
bossy? Does she talk after?
Exactly. She does not look bully. She's kind of, now that she's a little over a year old, you can kind of see the muscle in the build in her a little bit, but she's a tall, lean dog. There's no, now her sister, my cousin, was like, nah, just wait, and I said, nah, her sister's developing a little bit more, but this is Catahoula. This is she's a Catahoula. You know what I mean? And I love her. And I'm not gonna lie, she's my favorite dog here. You know what I mean? When I go to the woods and I'm out there throwing deer corn, she's the one that's with me. You know what I mean? And she can keep up through the whole thing. She can keep up. None of these other dogs can keep up. I know they can't. Cardi would try. But at some point, I'd have to stop her and
So
yeah,
keep
you know what I
going.
mean?
Yeah.
But she can go. And yeah, I tell my cousin, like, nah, I don't care what they told you. That Merle did not come from an Alapaha. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
did not come
Well,
from an Alapaha.
that's the thing is like, so there was obviously in order to keep a lot of those like larger traits, you know, the Alapaha was used, but a lot of
Yes.
people don't realize that Merle was implemented with the pit bull a lot sooner, like before American bullies were even a thought in someone's mind.
Yes.
Merle had been
Yes.
implemented, but by the use of Catahoula. So
Exactly.
it was already, Merle was already plaguing the American Pit Bull Terrier long before it became, you know, so some of these Merle lines they didn't stem from the use of the Alapaha. They stem from the use of the Catahoula earlier on in the American Pit Bull line. That,
Yes.
you know,
And because I don't believe Merle was originally in the pit bull,
no,
but
it wasn't. I know
we
that for,
do know that they would take the pit bull and breed it to other breeds to
yeah.
get more, you know, more drive into those breeds.
Yeah.
And if my dog's for hunting and performance, I'm not thinking about all these rules and regulations that people have. I just need it to perform and to work.
Yeah.
So you're guaranteed gonna get people who have their Catahoula and it starts to get a little dull, so they throw a little pit bull in there, breed it back into their Catahoula lines, and some of
Yep.
those pups, guess who they're gonna go to? A couple people that wanted pit bulls, and you know what I mean. And that's just how it happens, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
Now,
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
I think when it comes to the American Bully, I do think the Merle came from Catahoula and Alapaha.
Mhm.
I don't believe the try came from black and tan pit bulls. All the black and tan pit bull people I know, there's no way they would let it
Yeah.
go to a bully. Um, I know nobody wants to hear it, but I'll say it. I saw you just say it.
We, yeah.
Rottweiler. It was
Don't
Rottweiler.
don't play with me. Don't play with
Yeah.
me. We all know where that
It,
came from. Don't you
it
even
was.
try.
And
Bless your heart.
you
Don't
know
you
what's
even
funny?
try.
When I was breeding Rottweilers, would have been about, I would say about 95.
Mhm.
Venice Beach was still popular at the time, but the police were showing up heavily. Because on Sundays, Venice Beach was when all the blacks and Hispanics would show up. Everybody had their dogs.
Yeah.
The rappers would be
Dogs and
there, the
music and bands on
basketball
the
play.
beach. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and none of us got in the
Drum
water.
circles.
We was just
Wow.
walk up and down, you know, the beach, showing off our dogs, chasing girls. That's what it was all about.
In
And
that order?
in that order,
I have to
and
priorities,
so
man.
I
Priorities.
had a
Listen.
rot that at that time was extremely popular because our routine was Sunday we'd hit Venice. I would bring my Rottweiler Malcolm. Malcolm was, I would say, probably about 140 pounds as a rock. He
Mm.
was a big boy. So I would take him to Venice. After Venice, we leave Venice, we go to Crenshaw. I'd have Malcolm with me at Crenshaw. Crenshaw, if you ever saw Boys in the Hood, is the one area where they all had their cars out. Crenshaw is where you find out what club is going on and what bars popping that night. And that's where you get your flyers for the rest of the week. You get your schedule for the rest of the week. And then, you
Damn,
know,
you have
you
a
head on.
down.
Yeah. So Malcolm got
Busy
popular
Sunday.
because I had moved to Diamond Bar, which is about 30 minutes from LA. So once I got to Venice, there was no returning home. I had a Ford Escort, little hatchback at the time.
Oh, Lordy.
And so we would get in my other friends' cars that had low riders and everything. Malcolm would be in there bouncing with us. When it came time to go to the club, I would chain him to the steering wheel, lock it on him. And then I pop the hatchback, take off the little back platform. And then while I'm at the club that night, Malcolm's in the back of my Escort.
Watching it.
Security. Everybody knew. You'd even hear DJs. I know Daryl's in here. We saw Malcolm in the parking lot. You know what I mean? That's how it was. So a lot of people used to come to me. I got a female pit bull, and at first I would be like, "No, heck no, we're not doing that."
Yeah.
And once I got my program going, I would allow him to breed to these people's pit bulls and these pit bull mixes. And those
Yeah.
pups would always, when I see a year later, I'd see one, hey, yeah, this is one of the pups I got off Malcolm, da 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 da. And they had that tri look.
Yeah.
So when I see bullies and the tri look, I think of those days and I'm like, this is where it came from, you know.
Well,
this is where it got going.
And the crazy part is that you always like, so it's Rottweilers are technically, they're supposed to be purely tan point. There's not supposed to be a third color. Tri.
Exactly.
Tri means 3.
That's another thing. Exactly.
I'm just saying. So literally, like when it comes to Rottweilers, it's like the only like they do the same thing that people like the ABKC does with, you know, you can have a Merle and it can be registered, but you can't show it.
Exactly.
With Rottweilers, it's either they're nothing but tan point, black and tan, right?
Mm-hmm.
If even a white snippet, like on their chest or on their toes, can't show them. They can be registered, but you can't show them.
So you can still register it.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But the white came from the Bernese Mountain Dog that we're used to breed them.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
That translates right into them being like, so you got these tan point Rottweilers being bred to dogs that already have white markings implemented in their genetics. And so now you have tri. So that's where tri comes into play. It's not tan points anymore.
Exactly.
How often do you really actually see a bully that is pure tan point?
Very rare. And even if there's going to be some white on the toes. But see, now here's what's funny with the whole tri thing. From breeding Jack Russells, and then before that, we used to hunt beagles. So when I would hear tri, I always looked at tri like, you know, the black and brown, but it could be anywhere. It had nothing to do with the points.
Yeah,
it was just
black,
the
brown, and
three
white.
colors. I never heard the
colors.
tan point called tri until I got into the bully world.
Yep.
And they would be like, well, what do you call that? And I'd be like, that's black and tan with white. And they'd be like, no, it's 3 colors. And I'd be like, I get what you're saying, but until Facebook, until Facebook, that was called black and tan with white. Yeah. If you go back and you look at like the old game dog markings with the black and tans, they would say black and tan with white. They didn't call it tri. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, coonhounds, like the English and American coonhounds were all like, they were brown, white, and black, and they never called them tricolor. It was
called black and tan, and then they'd acknowledge that there's some white on the chest or whatever. Exactly.
Yep.
But I never heard that look called tri until
it was invented by the bully community.
Yeah. A lot of things were invented by the bully community.
It really is.
A lot of things were invented. I even get people that are like, you know, I want to get this dog, but I've been looking at some of your lives on YouTube, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the temperament and blah blah blah. You know, how do I know? And I'd be like, ask them questions, but ask them questions based off the things that, you know, you learn, because there's a lot of people that claim stupidity is good temperament. And it's like, this sounds harsh, but
that's terrible.
Yeah, if you're dumb, you have no choice but to be nice. You have no choice. So a dog being a nice dog, getting along with everything, doesn't make it a good temperament. You know what I mean? To me, he's just dumb. You know, that's why that's why he stays on the couch and watch Netflix with you perfectly. Because he's not that intelligent. Even in since we moved to Arkansas, I haven't done too much training. Prior to moving to Arkansas, I was doing a lot of training, professional training. I don't like obedience training. I prefer behavior training. So I always try to kind of get away from the whole obedience training. I don't like having to teach somebody's dog to sit and stay. And I'd rather deal with the problems that you're having and then help you fix those problems. So I would do a lot of behavior training and a lot of perimeter protection type training.
Okay.
And when I would come across bullies, English bulldogs, pugs is another one. They're just difficult. And, and people would be like, they're stubborn. And it's like,
Pugs ain't
no.
stubborn. They
Yeah.
dang
Party
stubborn.
Bull is a stubborn dog. You know what I mean? She's got a lot of attitude. You know what I mean? And even like having all the dogs here and her realizing, okay, we went from this little yard in California. Now we're sitting here and I got all this land. And even though they're in the kennel and they're in the barn, all of it's mine. She's just got attitude. She's a stubborn dog. Now she listens though, you know what I mean? But I get the stubbornness with her, you know what I mean? But sometimes people call things stubborn and it's not stubborn. It's your dog's having a difficult time understanding what it is you want.
You
It
gotta have
gets frustrating.
expectations.
Yeah, it gets
your expectations.
frustrating and then therefore it's distracted. You know what I mean? And I would see that a lot when I would come across bullies. So even when my cousin was like, let's breed XL bullies, I was like, no way. And a lot of it came from my clients that own XL bullies. And so you just see a lot of gimmicks in the bully world. When we first got involved and I started pushing Drive the Bully, and first everybody, they're companion breeds, and I'm like, it's a companion species. What do you mean companion breed? What is, I don't get that. I've heard about it before.
That's fair.
I know it's a classification, but I don't get that. Like this thing has been companions ever since its concept. They're all companion
So we
breeds.
started stealing wolf cubs out of freaking den.
Yeah, they became companions. You know what I mean? So so when you say companion breed, you're just coming up with an excuse not to have to worry about the other aspects of dogs, the two other aspects, which is their temperament and their ability. And so I would come across that, and we took a lot of flack. And then all of a sudden, I started noticing people talk about, our dogs are driven and they've got drive. And I'm like, where do you get that from? I get on Instagram or somewhere and I type in hashtag Drive the Bully, and I'm seeing people I've never met before, and they're using hashtag, and I'm like, okay, I get it. People just get in. That's why when I look at people like Erica Ross, who else out there? Brittany Burns, people who are actually doing things with their, when they tell you drive and she's got, a gangster out there and you just saw him catch a hog, these are the people that could tell you about drive. The people you see working the flirt pole, the spring pole, those are but you can't talk about drive and you just opened your kennel up and the dog's already panting. You know what I mean? But you see a lot of people doing that. So, I always tell people I'm not going to get involved with the arguments that take place, because I'll see two people arguing and then all of a sudden I get tagged in it. And it's like, I'm not getting involved with that. I agree with you 100%. So I'll click like, but I'm not getting involved in the argument. You know what I mean? And now they attack me, and every now and then you'll see somebody that they make an attack on me and they'll tag me in it, and it's all in the groups and all these other things. And it's like, okay, some days I'm in the mood and I'll play back and forth. Other days I'm like, I just remove the tag and I'm on to my day, because it's like I'm not getting caught up into that. But yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the direction that the bully world, especially the XLs, head. I'm curious to see what direction the classic heads, because I don't understand the purpose in that class. So I'm wondering, because we all have, like, I've got some classic XLs here, and I see people who have some classic pockets. So why does Standard get a classic and the rest of us don't? You know what I mean?
That's a relevant
you know,
argument.
they're
Absolutely.
the same
Yeah.
height. You know, you get some Rottweilers that have more mass. You get some Rottweilers that have less. Like every breed has some with more mass, some with less. So, you know, so I'm interested to see what they do with that. I'm interested to see what they do with the fact that there's no separation between the classes.
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
not
the standards.
separate breeds like they would be with like
Yeah,
schnauzers, poodles.
even the standards stops at 20 start, and then the XL starts.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be an inch or two in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like 20.1.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I want to see.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, you know, it's like, okay, so, you know, Dooley was getting caught up in that. You know what I mean? So I really want to see where they go. Even with the registries, you know, it's like, okay, if you've locked into 14 to 17, 17 to 20, 20 to 23, classic class, same height as standard class, just less mass. At some point, in order for us to be respected by the rest of the world, right now, I'm probably a more band dog, pit bull, and working dog groups, more active in those groups than I am in a lot of the bully groups. And every now and then I get in an argument. I know I'm right. And then all of a sudden the person looks on my page. What do you know? You breed bullies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have that respect amongst the rest of the dog world. And at some point, we're going to have to go the way of dogs. And I'm interested in seeing what, you know, decisions. I did see a live where Dave said, what did he say? He said that there is at some point going to be some type of separation. I noticed some registries just have the pocket, the standard, the XL. So I'm just interested to see.
Yeah, some of them have already split them.
Yeah.
Or they'll have, like, you can do standards. So classic, standard, and pocket will be American bullies, but then XL will be separate. Like it's.
But see, even that. Okay, so you can't call it XL. You're gonna have to call it XL American Bully. What do you? It's still a bully, and it's still the same. So even like the people were, and I saw people arguing with that, but I don't think they understand that with the Schnauzer. You have the giant, the standard, and you have the miniature. Those are three separate breeds. They're just all Schnauzers. Doberman, same thing. The poodle is finally starting to admit that they didn't all come from the same lines. You know what I mean? So now they've got to fix the little history
it's
the announcer gives you.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's all
you know
the
what I
epic
mean?
haircut.
Yeah,
you shave everything off that mother sucker, guess what? They don't look alike.
They don't look alike. So with the poodle, you got the teacup, the miniature, the standard poodle. And they tried to tell us for years that they're all the same thing. They've just been bred for different heights. Now you've got this announcer. This guy's reputation and his voice is on the line. And he's announcing what you've been lying to us about for years. Now all of a sudden, you're starting to admit the truth, and AKC's starting to warm us up to the fact. Now this announcer, whatever his name is, he's got to say something totally different than what he said last year. You know what I mean? And, you know, but the bullies are kind of doing the same thing. So it's like, at some point, we're going to have to go the way of dogs. Even Pocket and XL, like, those are street names. You know what I mean? That came from dudes marketing XL pit bulls and Pocket pit bulls that they had crossed with who knows what to make a little smaller pit bull. And we stuck with those names. Standard, you're legit. That's a dog name. But Pocket and XL, like, are we keeping that? Like, if AKC acknowledges the breed, or they changed the pit bull to Amstaff, are they gonna say you can't name your dogs after clothes? you're gonna have to come up with something else. You know what I mean?
We don't need
I
more Gucci's. This is
yeah,
done. We
yeah,
have
exactly.
50,000 Gucci's in the freaking registry. Y'all are
Exactly.
killing me. You're killing
You know,
me.
so
No
it's
more
like,
Hennessy's. Jesus
yeah,
God.
no more.
You're killing me.
You know, so where does this go?
Again?
There we go. So it's like, where does this go? You know, and then I watch UKC, so they're breaking it in and they're acknowledging Pocket and Excel. It's like, hello, you had miniature in this breed and you had giant in that breed.
But you're allowing this
What
vast
made you stick with the
window
name
of
Pocket
height.
and
Yeah.
Excel? Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see where how
Yeah.
bullies head. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm excited to see where it goes. And what I do love about the breed is that it's still new. I know everybody hates the fact that it's inconsistent.
It's new. It's like 20 years old.
Yeah.
What do you
And
want?
there you go. And since I didn't get
Some
to
of these
put my
breeds
stamp
didn't
on
even
my own
hundreds
breed,
of years ago.
I get to put my stamp on bullies. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
reach consistent. And I think once everybody gets to the point where they're trying to have a consistent yard,
Yeah.
even if your yard is totally different from my yard, that's when because that's how every breed was done. You had this in your yard, I had this in my yard, and then somebody gets a dog from you and somebody gets a dog from me, and they breed them, and you start to see an overall consistency. You know what I mean? And because we're not working them to build consistency, so if we're going off of look, then we're gonna have to, it's gonna take the breeder that gets a dog from you and me. But if your yard's not consistent and my yard's not consistent, and the guy gets a yard from you, gets a dog from you, gets a dog from me, we're never gonna get there. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see. I think everybody needs to be aiming at a bloodline in order to get this fine-tuned a lot faster. Even if your bloodline's totally different from this guy's bloodline, I think if we all aim for consistency within our yards, it'll be the people who get dogs from us that help us get to, a consistent look. I don't think the show ring is gonna be, and the standard that they push is gonna be the answer. Because if you log off Facebook and turn on Instagram, you're looking at a whole different, a whole
I have
different
noticed
thing.
that there's a lot of dogs that you don't see on Facebook, but you see them on Instagram. Yeah,
Yes.
because it's a different audience.
It's a different
It
audience.
definitely is. But I think so. For me, I think a lot of like my big concern, like you said with the show rings, is a lot of the registries, they have forgotten what they exist for. Their sole purpose historically has been a platform for people to use to showcase their breeding stock
And keep track of my paperwork.
Well, yes, and
That's
keep
it.
track of
That's it.
my pedigrees, right?
Yes,
The
that's
lineage
it.
of my animals, to actually like validate the lineage of my animals, right?
Yes.
But the registry exists for that purpose, to
Right.
track the lineage, right? To make sure that the stud books are the way they need to be, whatever the case may be. Now, the show ring is for me to showcase my breeding stock.
There you go.
The judge's job, their only job is to pick out of all of those animals for that respective breed, to pick it and say, see everybody that breeds this breed, that's what you need to breed to.
Just what it looks like.
That's
Yep. That's
their
it.
job.
That's it.
So because that seems to be something that isn't practiced anymore, or it's not viewed the same, it's not viewed in that manner, with that in mind, I think that's another reason why people are starting to veer away from shows, is because it's like, well, what purpose does it serve? It feels like it's a popularity contest, as opposed to, this is where I'm showcasing my breeding stock. This is where I'm going to find what I need to breed to. They're not going there for that.
But I think on one hand, I think that world, or that existence, especially in the bully ring, came from you. It came from a popularity contest, kinda, anyway. Like, I remember when, back to the 90s, there was a period of time. Matter of fact, it was right after the Rodney King riots. There was a huge truce call, and before that, you kind of had to
92?
watch where you go. That would have been, I think, 92.
Yeah, 92. April
So
26th.
yes. So after that, there was a huge truce call. None of the games were beefing. You could go anywhere. A lot of the car clubs and motorcycle clubs really got momentum during that period. A lot of the dog breeders got momentum during that period because we could go any hood, anything going on, you could go there. It was no issues.
Yeah.
That lasted about 2 months. But then but the momentum that was built for the dog breeders, for the motorcycle clubs, the car clubs, continue to this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so during that little period, people were showing up. It was a lot of, gatherings. And some of those gatherings turned into Venice Beach. That was another place. Sundays, we brought our dogs. You know what I mean? But now all of a sudden it started being at parks and things like that. And it was kind of, who are those dudes over there? Oh, they're all there with their dogs. Okay, we'll let that slide. Who are those dudes over there? Oh, they're all there with their cars. Okay, we'll let that slide. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to do, have your meet and greets. Yeah, you got to have your meet and greets, and then you start having your fun shows, and those kind of become popularity contests, things like that. The most popular person or most popular dog, and I think ABKC has done a decent job trying to get away from that. But I think people have to really understand you're not dealing with AKC, UKC. Like, you're dealing with some guys that are trying, just like the breed is new, so are they as a registry, whether you want to admit it or not. UKC is over 100 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to give them the time. Exactly. You know what I mean? So you got to give them the time to realize the errors, realize the mistakes. Sometimes everybody's sitting at the top. They get it. This is how things are going to be done. All the judges say, yeah, we agree. Comes time to show. And this judge, you know what I mean? I just watched Strickland lose a fight that he should not have lost this past weekend. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing everywhere. UFC, boxing, the show ring, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I see a lot of people are real hard on Dave, real hard on the ABKC. Yeah. I get the frustrations, but I think people need to go to the shows because it's fun to meet other people, bring your dogs out.
Yeah. It's showcase.
See how there you go. Showcase your dog. Other people get to see your dog. If you're into this sport, you want to nail that written standard perfectly, you got a judge that can tell you, even if you know the dog that you lost to was better than yours, you still get to go to that judge and say, okay, what do I need to
give me my homework?
Yeah. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. And I think that's what people need to be more focused on than the ribbon and the trophy and who. I hate when I see you're all registering your dog with ABKC. You're all participating in the show ring, and then you're coming back Monday talking trash, F the judge and F this and da da da. It's like what's the point in that? Like, it could be politics. I don't know. I've only been to a few shows, but who cares? Like, continue to participate. And another thing, I have bred dogs that no matter what, if you were judging their performance, it couldn't be denied. So if your performance happens to be the show ring, create that dog that can't be denied. Yeah. Even if I'm the judge and I just went and got drunk with this dude and his wife,
I'm still picking your dog.
I gotta pick that dog. I'm gonna apologize to them later. I didn't do what I said I was gonna do, but how do I look if I don't pick that dog? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless of what my
it's
friends.
A paradigm. It is a paradigm of its respective breed standard. But I don't want to be the asshole doesn't pick it.
There you go. Because if it's close, like they say in fights,
Yeah.
don't leave it up to the judge. You know what I mean?
Oh, you knock that sucker out. Don't leave it to decision. Don't let it go to
There you
decision.
go.
Don't
So
do it. Don't do it.
if
Don't
you're in
do
that
it.
show ring, breed, come with that knockout dog. And we've seen some.
Yeah.
Dooley was one to me.
Mhm.
Vibes Cartel. We could go down the list.
Yeah.
We've seen those dogs that, we'll see them get denied later after they couldn't be denied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when they first showed up, they
Uh-huh.
couldn't be denied,
Yeah.
regardless of the owner.
Mm-hmm.
How you
Handler.
felt about them, you
Yeah.
you had to give that dog his credit.
Yeah.
So create those dogs. But here's the mistake people make when they're mad about the politics. You went to the last dog that won. You didn't go to the best dog in the ring. According to you, that's the problem. But you're still, you know what I mean? So it's going to take time, for the registry, all of them, to
Yeah.
get to where,
The
we
correct
want it
enough.
to be, So, and I
Yeah.
think people have to give them that time. It is not easy. The other thing about the ABKC is they're kind of a registry and a breed club all at the same
That
time.
was
You
the
know what I mean?
idea behind it. Yes.
I didn't know that. So that was the idea. Okay. Because I was thinking at some point when they started picking up other breeds that they would maybe create a breed club for the bully and try to get, but
I
you got
think
a point
I
because I've noticed they have.
that's the step that they missed.
Okay. All right. I didn't say that. You
Yeah.
did. So
Because because obviously it was created and I've actually I swear I heard Dave say this. It was like that's why the ABKC was created, was to be its breed club. So it because in order for a dog breed to be recognized, it has to first have a breed
have a
club.
breed club. Right.
That's it. So it acted as that breed club, and then obviously as its registry, its founding registry as well. So it was supposed to be from what I understand, that's the dual
One day
purpose,
act the
right?
same. Okay.
But
Okay.
unfortunately, obviously, like they start adding these other breeds, which I think was for them, they were trying to add bully breeds. So you have
Right.
your French bulldog, your English bulldog, your oldies, your canes, so bully-esque breeds, bully type breeds.
Right.
But the problem is that it just became so all encompassing that unfortunately there wasn't something that was left behind specifically just for bullies. So all
Gotcha.
the things, all of those voids were never filled. So like breed clubs are designed to create a support group for each breed.
Exactly.
It is supposed to create an environment to teach people how to breed properly, what to look for. It's supposed to make them fluent in the breed standard. It's supposed to show that they have seminars on how to actually show.
And then the breed club gives the registry the direction
Correct.
of
The
the
breed
breed.
club
So
is what actually
right.
establishes the breed standard, and then the breed, like the registry, is what accepts that breed standard from the breed club. But we don't have one.
Now, because you're supposed to have a breed club for UKC, right? Or am I wrong?
Okay, so about that. So you are allowed to, or so you're supposed to, in order to host a show, you have to have a breed club. In order for when they accepted the American Bully in 2014, it was because the ABKC was considered their breed club. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Well, I mean, think about it.
It
I mean,
makes
because yes, you're
sense.
100% right. In order for it to have a breed standard that's accepted, that they can acknowledge as an actual established breed, it needs a breed standard that is created by its breed club. So technically, I mean, right now we don't really have a truly active breed club. We just don't.
Gotcha.
But at that time, back in 2014, technically the ABKC acted as a breed club in order to establish our breed. So the UKC obviously accepted the American Bully under the pretense that the ABKC is its breed club. Here's its established breed standard. But
Okay.
there's
Okay. I
certain
didn't know
things
that.
that breed clubs provide for the people that are members, that the ABKC doesn't provide. Now, I will say this though, they have started to get more active. I've seen recently with having seminars. They're calling them seminars, where they are showing people basically how to show and breed, and like they're showing them how, like what the expectation is
Gotcha.
for the ABKC and for the breed itself. So they've had these seminars. They had one in France recently. I think they're having one in the UK coming up, which I'm still kind of like, are you going to have an altered class? Because all the bullies there are technically going to be neutered, like with the exception of the standard and some pockets and whatnot. But like if it's XL, they're going to be neutered. That's the new jam. That's the new law. So are you going to have an altered class for the XL? Like, so there's a lot of stuff to iron out when it comes to the UK. But they're having a seminar, I believe, soon. So that's good. But that's what those seminars are technically for. So I think the ABKC has noticed that we have needs that aren't being met. So I think that
Gotcha.
they're starting to fulfill those needs, seminar by seminar.
Okay. That makes sense. I get it. Well, yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see the direction of the breed, the decisions that are made.
Yeah.
So like people have to understand this is a new breed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is an extremely new breed. A lot of
Nope.
breeders, even one of the reasons we started the Giant XL American Bully Breed Group was because there were so many breeders, and a lot of the other XL groups had a lot of people that so-called OGs, and they keep the drama going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when we started the group, it was a kind of make sure that that we're pushing education in the group, but at the same time,
Uh-oh.
Here's Mike.
We can't hear you, Darryl.
There
can you
you
hear me
go.
now?
There.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, so when we started the group, it was really about, pushing education, and keeping up with, and not just bully, but just dog husbandry in general. And keeping kind of a lot of the drama that goes on in the other groups out, and so it's going to be interesting to see where it gets, because I think you have a lot of gatekeepers, kind of. Like I always tell people, you want to get out the drama, go away from Facebook. It's a nice little world over there called Instagram, and you can. It's almost impossible to be drama in there. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. But I also let people know, but if you really want to get your dog out there, and you're gonna have to participate on Facebook. You can avoid the drama, but it's gonna be interesting. I don't think there's as much drama as when we first got involved.
Yeah.
Because it was bad. It was bad, and I think we were up for the challenge. But even me doing lives started. My cousin's a hothead, and I can be a hothead, but I think I'm not as comfortable with the internet as he is.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see somebody get emotional on the internet, it kind of becomes like a science experiment with me. Whereas in my cousin's mind, it's like we're face to face. You know what I mean? And finally I had to tell him, like, dude, if they talk shit about King, you can't go to their page and grab pictures of their family and be talking trash about their family members. You know what I mean? And he's like, nah, they shouldn't be talking about our dogs. And I'm like, bruh, they're talking trash about our dogs. you could have went to their page and saw their dogs. Our dogs are better than their dogs, but you went after the family, bro. You can't talk about people's family, and so, but
You're
that's him,
picking fights.
and I look at it like the world is seeing that. And he's like, the world ain't seeing nothing. It's just Facebook. You know what I mean? So
Oops.
I was always more reserved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but then we would have people. I've had people call around LA trying to, who is this guy, Darryl Thrower, and it would come back to me. And
Always does.
yeah, and there would be
People forget
times
about that.
people don't realize it, and there would be times.
Making
I
inquiries
remember,
and it
I'll
comes back.
never forget. I had one dude, and I didn't say anything at first, and a buddy of mine calls me, and he's like, "Hey, are you on Facebook breeding dogs?" And I always tell people, my close friends that know me, they might own a dog from me, but they're not breeders. They're not on Facebook. Some of them don't even have Facebook accounts. But he was like, you on Facebook and like some kind of dog groups and something, like, yeah. And he's like, it's weird. I had a dude that we ain't seen in like 20 years call me. And I'm like, what do you mean he called you asking about me? And he told me. So I kind of explained, like, I think it's this one dude I've been getting into it with on Facebook. Yeah. So I noticed the guy's tone kind of changed. And all of a sudden, he was kind of cool and everything. And then one day he made a post, because he had kept hitting me up on Messenger and I was ignoring it. Well, he made a post in the group.
Leaving him on red.
Yeah, Darryl Thrower, we need to make peace, hit me up. So I called him on Messenger, and he was like, yeah, I got a cousin that's from LA, lives in Inglewood. I asked him if he knew anything about you. Turned out he had known about you, but he didn't know about you from dogs and things like that. And I had to kind of explain to him, like, things don't work like that here, So you calling somebody and them calling somebody and them calling somebody to figure out something for you.
Someone's gonna call me.
Somebody's gonna get in trouble. Somebody's gonna call me,
inquiry.
but somebody can get in trouble asking the wrong questions and things. And I was like, and that's why I said, because the funny thing is, I don't know your cousin. So whatever your cousin told you is not the truth. He might know of me, but I don't know him. Right. And however we would have known each other, your cousin don't breed dogs. So it ain't from dogs. So when you start making those calls, it don't work like that out here. And there's a whole lot of other places that you can go making the wrong calls and you can get your own family members in trouble asking the wrong questions. I just happen to be a good dude. I was like, so you shouldn't be doing that and trying to figure out things because you got somebody.
Just ask me, man. I'm right here.
Just ask me.
I mean, but then again, I have been leaving you on red, so technically you have been asking me.
This is the truth. But my thing is, like, why is dogs going that direction? You know what I mean? Now, my cousin, he's game for all that. You know what I mean? He don't mind. He will. Yeah, you challenge him to a fight, he's gonna want to know, what airport do I need to get to? You know what I mean? My dad, my uncles, the family kind of had to be like, Aaron, you stay off of Facebook and let Darryl handle it. You know what I mean? But it took an adjustment for a while, and I even remember getting King, and we wanted to start promoting. What people didn't realize is when we first started promoting King as a pup, he was already a year old.
Yeah.
We were just posting pictures of him as a pup and kind of taking our time posting them in groups as he was getting older. But the reason we were doing that is because it was so crazy when let's post our little puppy, and then you start looking at everybody's arguing. This guy's challenging this guy to a fight. This guy's pulled up this guy's criminal record, and this guy over here knows this guy's wife in a way that he shouldn't. It's like, you know what, hold on a little bit. Let's take our time getting involved in this. And
rein that back in.
Yeah, we sat back.
Rein in the crazy.
We sat back. We watched who was who, what was what, and we watched for about a year before we got involved.
That's the waters.
Yeah, and that was it. Craig Spice was one of our enemies. Corey O'Neill was one of our enemies. Me and Corey became cool after a while, but it was funny in the beginning. It was extremely funny in the beginning, but it was like it's a different with a bully. And this at the time was crazy. That didn't exist in the other breed groups.
Yeah.
Really?
It did not. In some of your game dog groups, you would see a little bit of it, but not as much in the bully world. Now it's in every group, from Rottweilers to it's the same type of drama has made its way into.
I've
I
seen some
see it
people
in
in some French bulldog groups go.
Frenchie. Yes, I'm cool with a
Especially
lot of French
recently.
bulldog breeders, and they have told me, remember what you used to
Man, they
go
come with the
through?
blood.
Yeah, it's crazy, but
So
it's
y'all
just
need to check your blood pressure because this ain't healthy.
it's just an online mentality, and I think that even in its own way, it affects the dogs. It would be interesting to be able to see were bullies progressing faster before social media or after. So, like how did social media, forget the people, how did social media affect the direction and consistency of regardless of the direction of the dogs? And there's no way it could be
Supply
better.
demand.
There's no way it could be better.
There's no way you can. So American bullies became very, very popular very, very quickly, and I think it really truly did have everything to do with social media. Frenchies, I remember the first Frenchie I ever met in person was on Venice Beach back in 2008. And it was the first Frenchie I'd ever seen in person because that's how rare they seem to be, right? And ever since then, I want to say within the last 5 years, I see nothing but a shit ton of Frenchies. Everyone has them.
I think it's the number one dog breed, if I'm not mistaken.
And it didn't used to be. Like, it used to be one of those elite things where it's sort of like they were thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you had one, that meant something. Now it's just like everyone has a Frenchie because the supply met the demand.
Yeah.
And the
Which
demand
is why they're going fluffy.
Created by social media.
Yeah.
They wanted a Frenchie. Guess what? They got one. And now their cousin has one, their sister has one, their brother, their ex-roommate, their mother's father's cousin's son has one. Like, everybody has one now. And that's why. And unfortunately, with that comes all the fads. And so now you've got all these fads, hairless Frenchie, Merle. None of these are breed standard, and yet they're fads that get fed because, once again, if you have demand, people meet to supply it.
Somebody's gonna supply it. Somebody's gonna supply it.
And it's all
I think
by
that
accessibility, which is social media.
I think that really makes it like I watch. Why is my mind going blank? Jamie Sweet, with the Shorty Bull.
Yeah,
and in talking to her, and every now and then she'll make a post where she just gets her frustration out. And
just venting.
I get it because it's
service
like
announcement. That's my personal favorite. When it starts with PSA, you're like, oh shit.
Exactly, because and we were on a live once, and we're sitting there talking, and I asked her, how did the Shorty Bull come to mind? And she's basically was like, she came from working dogs, grew up with working dogs, but she loved English bulldogs, but she still wanted to breed something that was a little compact. English bulldog and mobile, still had the drive, the personality. And you look at it now, and every now and then she'll make a post, and I'll go searching around Facebook to see what it was that pissed her off. And I get it, because it's like you created this breed, and you're seeing it just go every direction, and people trying to argue with her. Like, how do you argue? Right? How do you argue with the person? But it's social
Take it away.
media, you know what I mean? Yes, and if we all met face to face, we all came across each other face to face. Even if you never met her, but you came across somebody third person face to face, you would get that, okay, I got to do what she's doing.
Yeah.
But with social media, you know,
Yeah.
they throw their own twist to it, and it, I don't know how I would have hidden. I don't know how, if I would have came up with my dog breed, if everybody would have left me alone, I would have hid it from social media
Your
Yeah.
damn
until it was
cousin, man.
perfected.
Damn. Hug him or strangle
It's
him.
hot. It's hot-headed.
Yeah, exactly.
Strangle him. Strangle him.
Because I can't imagine it just, you got it almost down and you let it get out, and then all of a sudden it goes everywhere. So, and that's what's happening with bullies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel they were released to the public way too soon in their tenure. I think that releasing them to the public, like for breeding, was it shouldn't have been done that soon, that early in the game. I mean, the dude who actually created the Jack Russell, you should read how he approached creating that breed.
I've got to look into that.
Look into it. Like
I've studied the basics of it,
Yeah.
and I got into it because there was a guy that I knew that was breeding them, and he was hunting them. But you know what? I have to look into that because I've only looked at just like the basics. Okay, I got.
Oh yeah, I mean everything was very, very. Everything was incredibly strategic. He played the long game, and nothing was released to the public for breeding until after he'd already achieved his consistency, his goal.
There you go.
I mean, he bred for himself essentially, and everything else got pet homed or went right back into his breeding program. Like nothing was actually released to the public until the breed he felt the consistency was established.
Right there. But see, and I think if people, because I always explain to people, when you create a bloodline, what you've done is created your breed within this breed. That's your blood. That's what makes your yard identifiable amongst all the dogs out there. Yeah. And I think if people went that direction and understood that, you know, okay, one, you're not going to get rich off of American bullies. You know what I mean? You're not going to get rich. You know, everybody that you think is rich off American bullies was already had money before that. You know what I mean?
And they probably have less money now than they did when they started.
There you go. Exactly. Right. Now they're working overtime. Before they were just making a bunch of money working 9 to 5.
Like they did.
There you go. And I don't think people get that. And a lot of people look at it like, I'm going to get into this. It's going to get rich.
Yeah.
And all of those people, and I've seen some even have good dogs, great dogs, but they're no longer breeding any longer, you know, or they've moved on to some other breed. And it's like, if you could just find the joy that, there's a written standard, but if you pay attention to the written standard, there's gaps in there that you can fill in with what you want to do, and the direction that you want to go, and still respect and even meet that written standard to its goal. Now, maybe this judge will have a different preference, but guess what? Tomorrow's judge, that might be what he likes. You know what I mean? And that's the battle of the show ring and the judges. So there's room for your vision. And I think if people got into that aspect, at least started the direction of creating a bloodline, you may never even get there. But if you go that direction, start to see, you know, that consistency coming in your yard. I think more people would enjoy it. I think a lot of people would fade off. And I think
they can see themselves out. It's fine.
That's my thing. When I hear people, I wasn't a little spree where I was commenting like an asshole, but people, you know, complaining. I'm getting out of bullies. Exactly. You know, I'm getting out of bullies, and I put good. And then they put They
Well,
would put
oh,
you know, they didn't get what I was saying. And I remember one dude was like, yeah, you get it, you're getting out too. And I'd be like, no, I'm staying in. It's good that you're getting out because we don't need all these breeders.
yeah.
Blocked
We
and
need
I'm
more
blocked or they
advocates.
unfriend me.
Less
You
breeders,
know
more
what I mean?
advocates. Yeah.
But it's the truth because it's just way too many
Yeah.
breeders.
It's
And
saturated.
yeah, it's way oversaturated. You know, and I think that's what definitely has in other breeds, the show ring never had an advantage. I remember most people you show German Shepherds, I use them to catch frisbees. You're not above me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're still equals. My dog got a trophy at the frisbee contest. Your dog got a
Yeah.
trophy at the in the show ring. AKC, Yukonuba, whatever it was. You're
Yeah.
not above me though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we're kind of dependent on the show
The
ring. You know what I mean?
confirmation. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To kind of
Yeah.
get
And
this where
confirmation
it needs to be.
becomes obviously very important because you're trying to compare and contrast it to the actual breed standard for each respective breed. So
There you
confirmation
go.
is
Exactly.
incredibly important. Yes. But when it comes to breeds that are supposed to be functional, that are supposed to have some sort of drive, that's why UKC and AKC have those sport events, so that they can excel in those. Like I know dogs that like excel at both. Like they're killing it in weight pull, and lure coursing, fast cats, all that. But they're also destroying the confirmation
The
ring.
confirmation ring. There you go.
And then there's some dogs that like they've never seen a confirmation ring, but man, like their sport titles are insane.
Exactly.
So it's just like, I mean, it's what's your pleasure, you know, it's whatever you want to do, but you have to kind of be prepared for the fact that, you know, I mean, is it great that your dog is capable of both? Yes, that's actually kind of where this whole thing needs to be going. But there's some people like their dog is killer at coursing, great at weight pull, but you put it in a confirmation ring, unfortunately.
Well, that's what I try to explain. Like I've heard people talk about angulation. Why is it angle? And I'm like, it looks good that way. No, it's because when the dog runs, it's got to be. I'm like, no. I've seen some cheetahs catch gazelles and they got swaybacks and high rears. That ain't got nothing to. That ain't got nothing to do with
Built
it.
like a big cat.
Exactly.
Lions
That's
have
what.
high rears.
There you go. You know what I mean? And that has
Bad
nothing to do
example.
with
It
it.
really
You know what I mean? So what I try to get people to understand a lot of times is I'm at an age where I'm not into too many activities and I do things with my dogs anyway, but I think people should get out there, whether it's the show ring, the dock diving, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I might end up with a dog that's like, you know, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this activity, you know what I mean? Out in public, whether it be weight pull or the show ring, whatever it may be. But to me, that what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of times the show ring bottlenecks breeds. People start going for the same standard. For the same studs. You see in the English Bulldog, there's been some ideas of outcrossing it a little bit, bringing it back. They've had to do it with the Dalmatian. They did it with the Cane Corso, where they brought in the boxer. But I think as long as you do have that bully that's doing great in the show ring, and that bully that's doing great in weight pull, and that bully that's doing great in lure coursing, if at every point anything is needed, you got it there. You know what I mean? Yeah, we don't have to bring in a pit bull in 50 years to get bullies back in the direction.
Something. Yeah.
There you go. We can be
able to fix our breed from within.
We
and
can
a lot
fix
of
it
people
from
aren't doing that.
within. You know what I mean? We've got that bully that was a champion in lure coursing. Guess what? I've been killing it in the show ring, starting to get a little tight, starting to get a little too much mass. Let me cross with him and get back into my line. We can do that, you know, but You know, and I think without having to go to another breed and pretend that never happened. You know what I mean? Because I would
Yes,
love to see in the Cane Corso those that we know had boxer brought in. I don't think that boxer's in their pedigree.
Oh, and you see a lot of XLs that have a couple sloppy features, the drooped eyes, you know, the extra jowl. You're sitting there thinking like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
know what you
Neapolitan
did.
looks real
Yeah,
good on you.
yeah,
You
I
know
know
what
what
I
you
mean?
did. But and that's the thing is like, and it's people cutting corners. But it's just one of those things where I mean, if we can't fix this breed from within, it ain't ready.
There you
It
go.
ain't
There you
ready.
go. There
So
you go. Well, see, and I looked at the classic, kind of given that opportunity.
and this is something that I think I even said this either last week, I can't remember, but it's something I say pretty frequently. Like literally, classics have to exist because classics are the cleanup men. Their existence is to clean up the mess you made chasing extremes. Like
There
you
you
chase
go.
all these extremes and you fucking things up. Like all of a sudden now you've got these bowed elbows, these high rears, no angulate, like straight stifles. You've got all these horrible, horrible messes you got because you were chasing extremes. That the only thing that's going to clean that up is a classic.
Okay, but now as an XL breeder,
Mm-hmm.
you could turn to the classic. What do you do if you're a pocket breeder?
Pray.
Can't count on nothing. Can't count on nothing.
It's
Pray
nothing
or
there.
spay. Pray or
Yeah.
spay.
Patterdale? Well, you know what I mean? What do you
Oh, please don't.
what do you
Oh yeah, no, don't,
what do you know
don't.
what is the pocket? Because the pockets are kind of the one that it appears to me when I look at the illustration ABKC put out. First thing that came to my mind is we're supposed to be chasing the standard.
Yes, that's their goal.
Now it looks like we're kind of chasing the pocket.
Well,
And
so I don't know if you noticed.
okay.
You probably did. Uh, so during that same time frame, 2014. Remember how ABKC had the extreme class,
Yeah.
and they
They got rid of it.
discontinued it
Okay, yeah.
around 2014,
Right.
but then also kind of implemented the standard for the extreme into the standard in the pocket. And XLs, literally, the verbiage for the breed standard for an XL is a standard but taller. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else.
Right.
The standard but taller. That's it. We don't get a lot of, like, there's no glamour. There's none of these fancy, just like, here's what the tail's supposed to look like. Here's what the head's supposed to look like. Here's what the teeth are supposed to look like. Here's what the paws are supposed to look like.
Everything's
None of that's it.
but
Standard
talk.
but taller. That's us. That's it. That's all we have to work with. So we have to stick with what the standard is, and the pocket is essentially the same, but shorter, right?
Right.
But the thing is, it's like around 2014, that standard changed to implement those extreme features because that was the goal. Like the extreme was their concept car.
I agree.
That's where they were headed. That's where they wanted to go. But they had to keep it as a separate class because that's not what the dogs looked like back then.
Exactly.
Like the standards then are like the standards of yesteryear are the classics of today. That's what those dogs looked like back then.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
they have this extreme class that's kind of where they were headed. And right around 2014, magically, that class was discontinued, but their extreme features were put into the standard for the rest of the breed.
See, and for me, I personally, Fred Duran was the first person to explain to me that what they're looking for is that square from toe to bottom of the chest, across the chest, back down the
It should
toe.
be as wide in the front as it is tall at the
As
waist.
it is tall, he said. It was like, when he first explained that to me, it was like, okay, I got it. But then I looked looking at the dogs and the bone mass and the weight on them, my thing is on a dually, yeah, okay, cool. I want
She's
a
got
bigger
the right
dog.
to compensate
He's
that.
there you go.
That's the
I
thing.
want a bigger dog.
Height,
So
yeah.
therefore, to me, at some point, ABKC has to make its own standard for the XL. Keep it
That would
looking
be
the
nice.
same, but if we're putting 120, 130, 140, 150
Pounds on
pounds on
this
these dogs,
dog.
guess
Yeah.
what? They need a little more legging.
Well, right. Weight distribution 101. Weight
There
distribution
you go.
101. The
There you go.
taller the dog, the larger the dog, the longer the dog.
The
Like it's
legs,
just
exactly.
that your English Mastiffs are not compact.
There you go.
Doggy
Exactly.
Bordeaux's not compact. Corso's not compact.
There
Bull
you go.
Mastiff, not compact. They do not have a compact body because weight distribution 101.
There you
The
go.
more the weight, the bigger the dog has to be to compensate for that weight distribution. So they're going to be taller, longer. It's just the way that it goes.
Yep.
You've got to be able to allot for that. You're not going to have a compact dog that's that height at that weight. It's just not, it's not healthy for them. They're not going to carry it very well. You're going to end up with a dog that dies of bloat after eating too much too quick.
Well, see, and that's
They're
kind of
so
my thing is,
compact and so big that they're like literally their organs are.
well, and the other thing is we've thrown so many things into this pot of gumbo we call American Bully. That's great. You've got the Mastiff skull, and you got your American Bulldog muzzle, and you all together. But where did his heart come from? Is his heart English Bulldog?
It better not be. That's a bum ticker right there.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like we're basing everything on what we see on the outside, not thinking about what we see on the inside. And that's why to me there's so many dogs that look great, but they're having these issues, heart murmurs, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, if these dogs were bred correctly, could it still have had its same health issues, but lived a lot longer than what it did? But then when we put this mass and this bone on it, now all of a
shortening its
sudden,
lifespan.
there you go.
100%. We're shortening its lifespan.
There
If
you
you're
go.
cool with having a dog for only 5 years, that's on you. Me,
That's
I want my dog to live
crazy.
10 years
Exactly.
plus, healthful, like in a healthy lifestyle for 10 plus years.
And then there's dogs that have supposedly done well in health testing, but they still died early.
Because their joints fell out from underneath them. They
There you
became immobile. And at that point, what are you going to do? I mean, again, you have a dog it's the same with obesity. How hard is that?
There you go. Exactly.
It's obesity.
Exactly.
Like you can sit there and say, oh, my dog's just big boned. I was like, no, he's fat. Look at him. He has wrinkles on his legs, motherfucker. That's fat. There should not
That's
be
the
wrinkles
truth.
on their legs. There should not
That's
be wrinkles
the
on
truth,
their legs.
though. That is the truth. So that's why
Up here, maybe right around the elbow because they bend and shit. But like
right,
wrinkles
but
right
not
here,
on
forearm,
no.
that's fat. That's fat.
Yeah.
Stop
Wrinkles
it.
around the stifles is an
Right.
issue. That's an issue. But I think that's why something's got to be said. There's got to be a push to where, because I've seen some dogs that do look great. And have won, they're grand champions, but I wouldn't own that dog. And I know that dog wouldn't be able to do well around me and my household. The things that I like to do, the things that, yeah, they're not going to do well, and then, so I think we do, like, I noticed the previous stand, like, so for instance, UKC acknowledges that the dog should be able to compete and perform.
Yes.
ABKC used to say that the dog should be solid, but I think the word was agile, I think they used.
No, I think you're right. I'll look it up, but I think you're right. I think I remember that.
But there's nothing now. There's nothing related to the ability of the dog anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's totally removed.
They go into how it's supposed to move, but they don't say how well it's supposed to move for long.
Well, okay, well, see, and that's the thing. Like, even when, you get people, my dog's functional. Why? Look at him move around that ring. That's not functional. That's not functioning. That's not function. That you can't have everything that functions has a purpose. My car functions to get me down the road. Function can't just be my car is able to sit there or start in the parking lot. That's not functional. But you
And it
get
might still
people.
break down on me from point A to
Yeah,
point
there
B.
you go. Oh,
Like,
you know what I mean? And you get people that, they're talking about this is functional. And
yeah.
so my question is like, okay, if you call it, and I learned to stop doing it, but if you call your dog functional, okay, what was your purpose that it was functional for? You know what I mean? And
That's
I'm not, well, they're not supposed to hunt. I didn't say anything about
yeah.
hunting, but if your kid comes out and wants to play fetch and you've got a nice sized yard, is your dog now functional? Now we can talk about function. It could fetch 10 times. You know what I mean? It can make it to this fence and back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's in trouble now because it jumped my fence. You know what I mean? Now we're talking functional. You know what I mean? But if it's just, if all it can do is chill, like, you can't use that word functional. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so when you remove the word agile from your breed standard, you're
Yeah.
you're basically allowing anything goes, and people are coming up with their own definitions for what is.
So leaving
Because
people to their own devices. Don't do
yeah,
that.
because I
We'll never do
can't
that.
test agile by walking it around
People
the
can't be
ring.
trusted.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's what has really been our goal. Luckily for us, to do what was set us apart from a lot of people in the community was just us taking the dog and taking this breed and being us with it. We still want to get the mass. We still want the bone. But we know like I hear people say better the breed, and I always try to say that sounds great, but you can't better the breed without using the breed to make a better dog. Until
Right.
then,
Fix it using it
you're not
itself.
better than the breed.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting seeing the direction this goes. It's going to be
Yeah.
real
I mean, we can
interesting.
only hope. We can definitely only hope.
Exactly. But like I tell people, regardless of the show ring, the one whose dogs makes it to the masses first is going to win. That's going to be who wins. Whoever's dog is in that commercial, whoever's dog you're seeing at the dog park, the ones that whatever that look is that we start seeing the most, that's the one that's gonna win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like let's try to get it right now before it gets out there. Let's
Yeah.
get it right.
No kidding. Absolutely. We are our own worst enemies when it comes to this breed.
Yeah, that's the truth. And it's not just the new breeders. I hear the complaints about the new breeders.
Oh.
I hear the
They're getting
complaints
it from
about it.
the old
It's all of us.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. All it takes is for them to tell us which one, and that's where it came from, an older breeder. That's all it is. You know what I mean? And that's why I see. I saw a post probably about a month ago, and some people get mad because I think our group is the biggest XL group on Facebook, and some people get mad because I can tell that they're pushing on a kind of an agenda.
Mhm.
And had a dude get mad because I denied his post. And the post stated, I hate when breeders when breeders want to ask me questions, but they haven't got a dog for me. So I denied it. And I knew when I denied it, he was going to hit me up in Messenger. Sure enough. Yeah. Why was my post denied? I was like, that message is the foulest message ever. And I was
The
like,
mentor get out. Mentor get out.
yes. And like I told him, I said, there's things I post. I said, I'll admit that I'm not doing any research. I'm just kind of taking what kind of randomly hit my head, and then I'll do a little article on it, type it up, post it in the group. I said, but I get people that ask me questions through Messenger. and I'm not a typing person, so I'll tell you what, this weekend, hit me up on Messenger. And if they call, I'll have that
Right.
conversation with them. When I was doing lives, I told people, now that I'm doing lives, you can ask me any questions you want.
Right. I'm right here.
But if it's outside of a live, you want to have a one-on-one conversation, I was charging a consultant fee. And no joke, because I'll sit and talk dogs for 2-3 hours. My wife's getting mad, you know what I mean? And
Dogs are
so
hungry.
I started charging the consultant fee, but I would let people know. But if you catch me on the live, I'll answer any. And my lives had no limit. They just went and went and went and went. Finally, sometimes all right, we got to shut it down. But now that I don't do lives anymore, I'll tell them, hit me up this weekend. I'll answer whatever questions you have. And if they hit me up, I'll have that conversation with them, answer whatever questions they have. And so, like I told the dude, like, I've seen you post about the breed, your complaints about the breed. People need to do this. People need to do that. And now you're saying, because this person talked to you, asked you questions, but happen to not get a dog from you, now they can't ask you questions anymore. And if you want to have that attitude, cool, but you want to make a post. And I seen your post in other groups. That's how I knew I was going to deny it when I started going through the post.
For you.
Yeah, sure enough, I'm scrolling and bam, there it is. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I'm not going to allow that to be posted. I was like, even if you kind of reword it, now he reworded it and kind of like in a question. How do breeders feel? And he basically kind of acknowledged he gets frustrated. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll let that go. But I was like, that attitude, we got to get away from that. Yeah. You know, I get other breeders. They've got these dogs that I know their grandparent is something that ain't an American bully. And I won't let it post. And why is my post not posted? And I'm like, because somewhere in your lineage is that dog look like it's about to melt. Somewhere there's an English bulldog or something in there, and that's not the look of the breed. Right. People are going to use your dog. I see it being posted. You're blowing up all over the internet for your stud, but it's not going to get posted in this group. Well, you let that dog get posted and it looks like a pit bull. I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying, but if you know what a pit bull looks like, that dog don't look like that. But at least that looks like health. That thing that you got that everybody's breeding to right now, and they're going to create some great looking pups from it. But guess what? None of you are going to show us what the other pups look like. And when that thing dies, you're not going to tell us about it. Nope. Or you're going to put angel wings on it, and everyone's going to want to know why. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Don't talk to me about it. I'm still heartbroken. Be like, bitch, no, I wouldn't.
And I let everybody know every 6 months we're going to crack down a little bit more and a little bit more on the dogs that are posted. If the dog shows a little more massive than it should, I'm cool with that. If I can see the American bully in it, if it shows a little more pit bull look than it should, I'm cool with that, as long as it looks like we could tell it's a roundabout look of the American bully. Is it going to be able to perform well in the show? No, they might not even let you enter it, but we'll let you in this group because at least it's got a look to it. Right. There's some breed type to it, but but then we've got other groups on Facebook and they'll let anything goes. You know, I remember Fred Duran and Corey O'Neill, I forgot what the name of their group was, but they had a group for a while. And them dudes wasn't letting nothing in there unless it could show. And people were pissed. And I'm thinking, like, you guys are crazy. But it wasn't a bad idea. And a lot of people went to it to get, information from it. But they let it be known, like, if we can't picture, Corey had a grand champion, Fred had a grand champion. If we can't picture your dog winning in the show ring, they weren't letting it be shown. And I thought they were crazy for that. But after a while, having my own group, seeing what's getting out there, I get it. You know what I mean?
Madness.
And they were the ones that gave me the idea. It was Corey. That was like, as much as me and him hated each other in the beginning, we became cool. But he was the one that was like, you know, if you're cracking down on your breedings, you gotta crack down on the dogs in your group.
Yeah.
He was like, treat that group like it's your yard. And
Yeah. Don't be an enabler.
yeah, everything you're seeing, he's like, you're gonna have to let some. I'll never forget. I was like, I said, so you're saying we should be cracking down on the dogs that are too tall? And he was like, you can't crack down on nothing. You got King of Diamonds. He was like,
You got a 26-inch dog.
yeah, he was like,
sir,
you can't.
listen.
He was like, when you get down a little bit, then you can crack down on that. But he was like, until then, you can't crack down on that. He's like, I can crack down on that. You can't crack down on, you know. But
You
he
ain't
was
allowed.
100%
This
honest.
conversation isn't for you.
Exactly. But he was honest, you know what I mean? And he was like, but treat the group like it's your yard. You want to see the group get better and better and better and better with the look in the group.
That.
And we still got a long, it's over 200,000 people in there. And, but it's just a matter of getting it better and better. And, you know, we explained to him, and every now and then I'll make that post. Matter of fact, last year said January 1st, we're going to be cracking down on the look of the group. What about freedom of expression? This is not America. This is Facebook dog group. That has nothing to do with it. And
United Republic of Facebook groups.
Exactly.
Actually, no. This is a tyrannical law. Listen, this is authority. No.
Exactly. You know, and but it is the biggest group on Facebook now, and for XLs, and you know, and now we decided every 6 months we're gonna crack down a little bit more.
What's the group name?
The Giant XL American Bully Breed Group.
Let's see here. Giant XL. Oh. So XL in parentheses, though, right?
XL in parentheses, yes.
2.0?
2.0, because they got our first one shut down.
Got it.
Yeah, they got our first one shut down. I have my suspicions of who it was, but yeah, we restarted it, and now it's exactly, and now it's bigger than it ever was. I think at the time we were probably about 70,000 people, and bam! All of a sudden, I go to log in to see what posts I got to add, and the group no longer exists.
Oh.
And yeah, so now we've been extremely strict on the rules. We created a guide section that people can go to. And there's still, I know it still gets complaints by breeders for no reason, but you know, I've had to appeal it a couple of times. There was one time it was shut down for about 24 hours. I appealed it, and then it was back up. So I think kind of now, whatever that, somehow they know that for whatever reason people complain about our group, and I know it's just breeders and people that have other groups, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, it's going good now. I try every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to post something that's educational. We don't post our own dogs in there. I think Aziz is in the cover of it. That's it.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, he's in the cover. But other than that, we don't post. We'll probably post this go around. We'll probably start posting our dogs in there. But shit, we've gone our dogs have never been posted in the group ever.
Gotcha.
And we've kept it that way. You know
well, I just joined it, so.
All right, cool. I'll make sure to approve you. You might get automatically approved.
No, I also, for everybody watching this, I also posted it in the comments, the group that he's,
cool. Thank you. But yeah, it is tedious running a group. You know, approving the posts, no matter how. Yeah, everybody's breaking the rules. And then you get things like, okay, you're not supposed to sell dogs on Facebook. So what I've told people is post
The
both
couch,
parents.
yeah,
You
the
know,
couch emoji is fantastic for
and
that.
don't post a post and it's got 6 different puppies. That's obvious. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I always tell people, post a litter, but post both the parents first and make sure that the litter is attached to that in the post. You know what I mean? I have had people, and I've still got one now that I'm fighting with Facebook on, where they post one dog, they put the measurements of maybe the head. There's nothing related to sales.
Right.
And then they'll hit me up and they're like, my post got removed. And I'm like, nah, we didn't remove it. And Facebook
Yeah.
removed their posts due to attempts to
Sales.
sell.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing about the post. And they're not, and so it's very difficult. But now that we're at where we're at, I'm like, okay. But every time that happens, it's hard to get a hold of Facebook to have them relook at it. Because everything's through these algorithms. I don't know what word they use that, because there isn't anything that they said that should have kicked off any algorithms.
Yeah.
And so, and it just causes us to get more and more strict, and it causes the group to get more and more tedious to run. You know what I mean? But we've got about 5 people in there that help us, approving the post and things like
People
that.
with
But
200,000.
yeah. We get probably about 500 to 600 new members a day.
So many.
There's probably about 300 posts per day that we have to go through. Luckily, the half of them are Frenchies for whatever reasons, pockets, a Snoop Dogg video. You know what I mean? Luckily, that's the majority of them. But yeah, we have to go through each and every one of them to make sure they don't break the rules. And, and now we started kind of cracking down on the dogs. We had a dude post a bully. He sent me the dog's pedigree, and I'm like, dude, that's a Neapolitan. I get it what his paperwork says, but I can't let that go in the group being called an American bully. I can't do it. We all got mastiff issues. Trust me, I'm dealing with them here, but that's a little too much. You know what I mean?
When its eyes are doing this, it's like,
that's his. He's got the droop in the eyes. You can see the red in the eyes.
mm-hmm.
He's got wrinkles all down his leg.
Yeah,
wrinkles
the
going
jowl
on
line
his back.
ends here.
Yeah, and so like
Right.
I explained to him, like, the jowls, you've got to clean that up. You've got work to do. I even sent him a picture of King, and I was like, these were the things we knew we had to work on. He's a good looking dog, but these were the things we knew we had to work on. These are the things we knew we had to clean up. And he still didn't like it. He was mad. Then he made a post about me last week in another group talking trash about me. But it is what it is. But my phone is about to die. I'm looking at it turn.
I hear, yeah. And I was looking at the time. I was like, oh crap, I gotta be up in a few hours.
Oh, I didn't even look at the time. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, anybody that's watching I did post his group in the comments. So if you wanted to go and join that, add to his already over 200,000 followers.
Yeah. Join.
Also, he has a here. I'm going to tag your thrower. Helps if I'm not dyslexic. There it is. Thrower bullies. So the link to your kennel page as well.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Absolutely. We definitely appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast.
Thanks for inviting me.
Joe, appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks for having me on, man. I'll be checking you guys out more often. And thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, you guys all have a great night. I appreciate you all tuning in, and thank you again, Darryl.
All right. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon. All right.
Night, gentlemen.